Good evening, designers, and welcome to Project Dubway, the show where the greatest anime reviewers for anime dubs only get together and fight in a cutthroat competition to see who of us can make the hottest takes. I am your host, Zaiti Loom, and this week we have an unconventional dubbing challenge. Remember that your materials may consist of language and situations that are not suitable for all audiences, and that listeners' discretion is advised. Remember that you may use all of the spoilers for Smile Down the Runway, as well as any other anime to make your perfect hot take. And remember that your hot takes and opinions are that of the individual participant and do not reflect on Project Dubway as a whole. Now, let's see how things are going. Noah is using things that aren't even from Japan. Gigi has covered hers in wine and crying, and I do not even want to know what this spaceman Hardy is doing with that goat's fur. Just remember, kids, anything can happen, and remember, it's red, because blood orange is fucking pretentious. Buongiorno, designers, and welcome to Project Dubway. Tonight, our contestants are here to give up stylish reviews of the hottest winter 2020 anime, Smile Down the Runway. With me tonight, I have designer Gigi.
Ooh la la.
Designer Steph.
I can't stop laughing. Shit. Sorry, hello.
And designer Roots of Justice.
Oh, what? What?
He's here.
Crap! I fell asleep in the recording room again. Sorry. Let me
This is what happens when you don't
to
get
the
enough
door.
sleep, Roots. We've gone over this several times now. What is wrong with you?
I'm
No.
sorry. The Radiant episode went long.
Oh, Lord.
No. We tie him up in fabric. He trapped in here with women now.
Ladies and I just got more interesting, boys and girls.
Wait, what show are you guys covering?
I almost said Project Runway.
Make it work, girl. Come on.
Special guest commentator Tim Curry. I almost just said special guest commentator Tim Curry when I meant to say Tim Gunn. Your commentaries tonight will be judged by Nina Garcia and Michael Kors, so you better make it work.
I want a purse.
No purses. Only scathing comments. You've watched enough Project Runway to know that Nina Garcia and Michael Kors will rip you a new asshole.
This is true.
And it's gonna be the best part of the show.
Wait,
So
Project Runway references. Are we covering what I think we're covering?
You missed that part when you were napping, you idiot.
honey, I'm sorry to break it to you but you're the only person with a legal copy of Paradise Kiss, and that's not out of the jail yet.
Ah, true.
I have a legal
Touché.
copy of Paradise Kiss.
Wait, you...
In the box.
Gigi.
Oh,
What?
no.
Paradise Kiss Fist.
What?
He
I
wants
own
to
it.
fist
He wants
bump
to-
you because you have Paradise Kiss.
Yay.
I own it too. So fist
I
bump.
know.
Paradise
That's
Kiss Fist sounds like a really
I
bad
thought-
sexual
I thought you
maneuver.
said Paradise Kiss this, and I was like, what am I kissing?
Obviously your boyfriend, Itchy.
He's not in this episode.
Oh my god. Anyways.
No, he's still in the dungeon with Andrew. But Andrew's now in special hell.
We don't talk
Oh.
about Andrew.
Hashtag Andrew is over party, because what did he do?
Andrew is dead to me.
No. Okay, so this is the sequence of events currently. Andrew went villager hunting in Animal Crossing the other day. He passed on Diana, who Gigi wants. So apparently Andrew is now dead to Gigi. But Smile Down the Runway, right? We watched it. He's called this show My Runway Academia, and now Gigi's like...
Andrew is canceled.
Hashtag Andrew
Is over party. Make a trend.
Let's go.
Anyway, you know what's not over? Okay, actually it is, because the anime is only 12 episodes long,
Sad
but it's
face.
gonna live on in our hearts and hopefully get a season 2.
Please.
Smile Down the Runway, which is a 2020 winter simuldub that started in winter and ended in August thanks to the human malware.
That's the best. That's the nicest way to call this year. Thank you.
2020.
Thanks, gut punch to the lungs.
Yay.
2020 is going to end with a hellmouth opening up under DC and swallowing the angry, evil politicians.
Yes. Anyway,
the plot of Smile Down the Runway is as follows. Chiyuki Fujito has a dream to be a Paris collection runway model. The problem is she's too short to be a model, and everyone around her tells her so. But no matter what they say, she won't give up. Her classmate, a poor student named Yuriko Sumera, also has a dream to become a fashion designer. The two decide to combine their dreams and overcome the naysayers. What we expected, shoujo romance, what we got, shonen battle anime as
Weird.
I like it though. I'm okay with it.
Too.
Oh no, this is like genuinely an anime that I think most people should actually watch. And I think that it got lost in the shuffle of this year being, this fucking year.
Right. Like, this show is so much fun. It does have it has a decent amount of, shonen tropes that you normally would see, but that doesn't freaking matter. Because, you switch it and the demographics a lot different, which is perfect.
Also, episode 8 onward is literally targeted to kill your emotions.
Yes. 100%.
Oh, jeez.
It's gut punch city in there.
All we're gonna say is this, protect these children.
Yes.
They deserve
Yes.
the world.
Yes, they do.
And if anything was to happen to any of them, I'd kill everybody in this room and then myself.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that.
I will go full Brooklyn Nine-Nine on you.
That's a lot.
Hell yeah.
9-9!
No.
So, to get started, so that we don't have to draw this out any longer than this is going to be, let's get started really quickly on the cast and crew of this show, starting off, obviously, with our directors and writers, as this is a full review of the 12-episode anime that was fully dubbed. We have no predictions. We're just gonna get straight into it with our director, who is one Mr. Clifford Chapin. And our writers, the main writer of the series is Jessica Kavanaugh, though episode 2 was written by Yoongi Chang. Clifford Chapin you would know as the director of Darwin's Game, Dr. Stone, and Human Loss. Jessica Kavanaugh you would know as the writer of Recovery of an MMO Junkie, Sakura Quest, and Gosick. And because I can't say your full name, and I'm really sorry, and I probably butchered it, Yoongi you'll know as Wai Chang, who has written for shows such as The Cautious Hero, The Hero is Overly Powered but Cautious, Hensky, which I can't remember, but something Panty Cinderella, and Legend of the Galactic Heroes De Nuitessa Season 2.
And I know Kusabi.
And of course, a Ladies' Night Treasure, I know Kusabi.
Is somebody eating something?
No, I'm playing with the bag of pins and my cat just showed up.
Oh, okay. I was like, what is that noise?
I am so sorry, I forgot that I was recording. Also, hi, my cat's here.
Hello, Shinya.
She's in here because...
Shinya wants to walk the runway and work it, bitch. Let's go.
She has a little bow tie, and she's always dressed fashionably in a tuxedo.
Nice.
Aww.
Perfect.
She's in here because if mommy closes the door and doesn't answer her, she will bang on the door and cry and upset her grandmother. And then when she's in here, she demands that mother pet her because she is a brat.
Cats.
She misses her dad, though.
That's
Sounds
you,
about
Roots.
Right.
That's you,
She
Roots.
didn't
What
want
was that
anything
silence
to do
for?
with me when I was down there.
She doesn't like anybody until they come down, the second time. Until they go down the second time.
Oh,
anyway,
well.
I'm gonna stop that because...
Oh my.
We all know, okay, if anybody was all over Roots more than I when he was down here, it was my dog Bailey.
Anyway,
so, starting this off, you know what? Steph, you can go first.
what can I say about the directing and writing of the show? I love it. See, here's the thing. If you're familiar with Clifford Chapin as a director, right? Most people would be like, oh, I didn't know he could direct something like Smile Down the Runway. And then you have us, who have been following this man's directing career since he became a full-time director, even before that, and you realize, oh yeah, he can do this. It's not that hard. But not only that, he does it very, very well, because he has a wonderful sense of this is just in general with his work. He has a wonderful sense of story and characters, figuring out through lines and plot points and character moments and motivations and everything like that. So that's always a fun time, seeing Clifford Chapin direct something wildly out of the box, because this could be wildly out of the box, all things considered, for him. But I'm glad he's the one who handled it, because I love the casting. It was so much fun. The dynamics between different characters is fantastic. But as well as directing on his end, the writing is also so much fun. It mostly, I haven't watched the Japanese. I would assume it mostly sticks to the original translation, because Jessica Kavanaugh, from my understanding, we usually stick to most of the original translation. There was maybe like one or two lines that are a little bit like modern slang and stuff, but it's only when the scene actually calls for it, so it doesn't really, because you know me, sometimes if you overdo it, it sticks in my brain as a problem with the show. But it only does it when it really calls for it in the scene, and it actually, in most comedic moments, which works fantastically. But this is one of my favorite shows from the year so far, 100%. Not just because the show itself is fantastic and you should go fucking watch it. There's your early final thoughts. Go fucking watch the show. But the dub is actually one of, I think, the stronger ones, especially as an ensemble cast from this year, with variety of performances and castings of a mix of either very underutilized actors and actresses, or a few that are up and coming and who have been really like putting themselves more forward, i.e. the case of like Ikuto and Kokoro, who we'll talk about later. But yeah, directing and writing wise, very, very strong, very solid. I loved every second of it, and please let there be a season 2. Okay, thank you, bye.
Thanks, Steph. Roots, go ahead.
One thing I definitely appreciate reviewing this dub right now, especially considering, you know, I had just gotten through earlier this month reviews for stuff like, as mentioned before, Radiant and, you know, Gun Gale. Those were the things I really like in a dub, punchy and bantery. This is a lot more subtle. And I think it was very appropriate for the source material, which is also very weird considering this is like archetypal battle shonen done through modeling and fashion design. Like, it's great. And there are a bunch of performances in the show from actors I really hadn't paid much attention to until now, and now they are like square in my radar. Overall, I really like the direction. The script writing was also, again, it felt close to what the source material was trying to bring out. So, and in something like Radiant, that's, if they go off script a little bit, that's perfectly fine. This, on the other hand, this felt like it needed to be treated not quite one for one, but close. And I felt that they nailed that really well. So, overall, strong casting choices, excellent direction, dialogue flowed very well, and the writing was quite good. So, definite thumbs up.
Gigi?
So I did my homework on this one. I'm shocked, as you all are too, because I was actually the first one to finish watching this, which never happens. I'm usually watching it.
I just waited until this episode because I didn't want to finish it ahead of time.
Oh, I once I hit episode 8, I was like, I'm not stopping. This train is going to keep on rolling to the end. So I did watch a little bit in the Japanese also. I watched it when it was simulcasting, and then I went back just recently and watched it again because I wanted to make sure of things that I was going to say. I kind of want to talk about the writing first. First of all, I couldn't tell that there was a writer change between episode 1, 2, and then the rest of the series. So it all sounded very cohesive, which was great. And they had to be able to write this heartwarming show with shoujo trash drama, But this manga was in a shonen magazine. So technically in quotes, it's a shonen anime. It's also classified under shonen. It's not. I mean, it could have shonen elements, but it's shoujo trashy. Let's be real, friends. They also had to keep the dialogue to not be stereotypical Project Runway dialogue. If you've watched the show Project Runway, it's a reality show about a bunch of fashion designers making clothes and competing to win a prize. That's basically what I thought this show was going to be, and I was not disappointed in it. But there are so many catchphrases and so many like turns of phrase that the characters, the people on the show used that make it iconic, like still to this day. Like, people still talk about Santino, like Christian Siriano is still running around being very successful in his career.
Now he's the mentor on the new season.
No way, really?
Yeah, Christian's the mentor on the new season, and he is like, he's not as warm as Tim, but he's great.
Tim Gunn is like a legend. So I was kind of expecting something like that going into this anime, especially after I saw some of the characters, and it didn't go that route. And I was kind of grateful that it didn't, because it shied away from stereotypes of, you know, the kind of people who you would think after watching Project Runway would be in a show like this. So I really liked that. Nailed it. I do wish that they would have explained more in the writing, more about the aura that the models have, because there's such a difference between Chiyuki and Kokoro's auras. But they were like, oh, Kokoro has such a great aura, and I'm looking at it and I'm listening to them talk, and I'm like, but why? Like, she's so dark and like scary. I would have really kind of appreciated more dialogue or more inner thoughts or something from the characters just explaining that, especially since they did say a line in the Japanese that kind of made it more clear to me when I went back and watched that episode in Japanese. So there's that. But other than that, I thought they did a really good job with everything. Like, it wasn't the way that I thought it was going to be, and for that I'm really grateful. As for Cliff directing, yeah, this is like a normal Clifford Chapin directing casting session where he picks random people and just throws them in things, but he's very good with his varied casting choices, which I appreciate also. He also makes everything sound really real, even though there's tons of times in this anime where the drama is completely over the top. There are some places where it could have gone campy and it didn't. It just kind of stayed real. So to that I was very grateful. The one thing I have a problem with, here we go, fam.
Uh-oh.
Okay, there's the name of the managing or the modeling company or whatever that Chiyuki's dad owns.
Milneige?
Yeah.
Milneige. I did go back and watch the Japanese. They pronounce it Milneige also, but if it's actually French, it's Milneige. So that was what bothered me through the whole thing, because I speak fluent French and I was just like, this doesn't sound right. Why is this not right?
This is just the dub following through with the Japanese on this.
It is following through with the Japanese, which now I got a bone to pick with the Japanese dub.
If you're gonna do it wrong in one language, keep it consistent.
Keep it consistently wrong. I was just like waiting for somebody else to like speak French or like get something like in there through Paris Fashion Week.
To be fair, though, I mean, kudos for the consistency between both language tracks. There could have been a correction on it on the English side. They could have corrected it, but...
That's why I'm saying, like, if you're going to be consistent, and they were. Right. It's just consistent in both language that it's wrong. So... just saying.
Point taken.
Sorry, love you guys. You made it work, I guess. Peace out.
I would like to point out to you guys that while you guys have been talking, Shinya has decided to lay on one of my pillows like a queen. And I just keep petting her because she's a queen.
We stan Queen Shinya in this household.
I have a picture of her, so whoever, if we can get Jackson to visually edit, I'll send a picture of her.
Yes.
Absolutely majestic.
So I watched, I think, the first couple of this in Japanese as it was starting, because it was a show that when Funimation announced it, I was immediately like, fuck yes! This is a show I was really excited. And I did watch the first couple episodes in Japanese, and I genuinely really liked the subcast a lot for this. I won't lie that Ikuto in Japanese is played by my favorite Seiyu, so one of my two favorite Seiyu, and if you know me, you know that who my two favorite Seiyu are, and one of them is in this. I think as a casting actually is, there are a lot of people I see Cliff having used before, but there are also some that I didn't see him using as major characters before. Mm-hmm. And that I appreciate, and I think that a lot of the main characters in this, which I'd consider the four main characters to be Chiyuki, Ikuto, To, and Kokoro, are not always the first people that you would think of when you come to shows like this. Obviously, I think out of the four main characters, if you were going by, like, there's what anime fans who are super into dubs and track everything and watch every show dubbed every season and can pick up things know. And then there are the people who are more casual about dubs and they can't tell actors apart, but if they've seen them on a big shonen show, they'll be able to be like, ooh, I know that voice. I think out of the main cast, there's only one actor who's really like that.
All things considered, if it's the one you're talking about, then yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Stuff.
Recent stuff.
I think the secondary cast of this is really well put together, and that's where I think a lot of the more well-known actors are. Mm-hmm. There's maybe one performance in the whole show that I found to be relatively flat or not at the level of everybody else. The writing, like Gigi said, I couldn't tell that there was a different writer for episode 2 compared to episode 1 compared to episode 3. I thought it was pretty close to the Japanese, except for maybe the aura thing. I also do agree with Gigi that a big credit is that a lot of times there are a lot of terms that are specific to fashion or design or modeling that are not known to a lot of people, even if you do watch something like Project Runway, or if on the modeling side you've watched
America's Next Top Model.
Smize. There we go, there's your Tyra call out. I was rooting for you, we were all rooting for you.
Do you know how much this hurts me?
See, if you ever want, there's a video by a YouTuber named Allison Pregler, who everyone knows when she started out as Obscurus Lupa. And she actually did a video called the Top 10 Wildest Tyra Moments in America's Next Top Model, and it's fucking hilarious.
God bless.
I implore you to please watch Obscurus Lupa's video about that. And just in general, America's Next Top Model is like a fucking wild show. It is more wild than Project Runway.
I love it.
It is absolutely bonkers. Like, it is a... Could we call it a shoujo trash show?
Yeah.
Can we call America's Next Top Model shoujo?
Oh yeah, for sure.
not?
Especially when they added guys.
Let's be real. It absolutely is.
It's the American shoujo trash.
Yes.
Yeehaw shoujo trash.
I've watched every season, and you can't say that about Project Runway, so.
I don't think I've watched every Project Runway season, but I think I've watched almost every Top Chef season, and that's close enough.
That's next on the list.
All I'm saying is that I would die for Stephanie from from Top Chef New Orleans and All Stars 2. If you know who she is basically, no offense, honey, she is basically like my celebrity crush. Is Stephanie from Project Runway. Also, Stan Melissa King from Top Chef. Sorry, Stephanie from Project... Fuck, you know what? We're moving on.
As she digs the hole deeper.
As I dig the hole deeper, because I can't tell the difference between Top Chef and Project Runway. And Padma Lakshmi is gonna, like, pop out of my closet and smack me with a cast iron pan for it.
Oh my god.
But to be fair, I would want to be smacked by Padma Lakshmi. She's really hot. She's attractive!
I thought we were moving on, Megan.
I want to move on to the point that I think that I've watched a lot of Clifford dubs, I think. And to be fair, like, the first thing I genuinely remember him being an assistant director and a full-time director on was a shoujo show.
Me too.
And that was Yona of the Dawn. And I think that he does have a sense in, and this is something that I like genuinely about all of Clifford's dubs, is he has a sense of what the show he's working on is. Mm-hmm. And, like, you can obviously see the level of care that he puts into things. Just go look at Dr. Stone, that I think is probably, if you ask me objectively what I thought the best Clifford Chapin dub is, I'd probably say Dr. Stone.
Yeah.
Subjectively, it's kind of a toss-up, because I when I finished this, I genuinely thought, like, wow, this is probably one of my favorite dubs that he's put together. There was just something about the casting and the writing and just the little, just, I think Roots kind of nailed it, is there is something really subtle about this, and it ties into Gigi's points, where it stayed a little more subtle and personally understated in moments, because if it went over the top and campy, it would ruin the original source material and just the show's own very intricately put together emotional writing. And the one thing I appreciate about the show in general is that in the end, everything went the way that I think it should have gone in the fashion world, but in your heart of hearts, it didn't go the way that you as a fan wanted.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's the old Batman, you're not the hero Gotham wants, you're the one it deserves. Whatever. I can't ever get that fucking Batman quote right.
No one ever does.
Now Batman, there's a man who needs some fashion sense. The fuck runs around dressed in a... Batman is just a really rich cosplayer beating people up.
Batman's great. I love Batman. He wears fucking latex.
Yeah. That's why she loves Batman.
Are you excited for Edward Cullen wears latex and beats people?
You have no idea. I will fucking face COVID to go to the theater and see that movie. To be fair, I was also Team Jacob, so let that sink in.
Anyway, let's move on to our first set of characters. These are essentially just supporting characters that are in and around the fashion industry and kind of things going on. They are Sarah, who is Japan's top model / television personality / probably an eventual VTuber on HoloLive.
Good morning, motherfuckers.
That's just a personal headcanon of mine.
Jesus.
There is Fumio Nimura. She is a new magazine editor who doesn't really, at the beginning, want to be in the fashion department. She would rather be in the literature department. She sees herself as unstylish, and she doesn't really like the fashion world because, in her mind, there are not clothes made for short people and people like her, until she sees Chiyuki walk at a fashion show where she becomes enamored with her and kind of is her, like, #1 secret cheerleader, even though they have never met and they don't ever meet the entire show. They have one phone conversation.
Read
That's
the
it.
manga!
Make it physical, Kodansha!
Let's go!
And then there is Shoko Takaoka. She is the headmaster of the Geika fashion school. She is basically, like, everyone's fashion grandma, and she's rooting for Ikuto, and is basically, like, his she's basically his Cinderella fairy godmother.
Really, yes.
She, like, 100% she would just be the fairy godmother in Cinderella. Playing Sarah is Madeleine Morris, playing Fumio is Emmy Lowe, and playing Shoko is Lucy Christian. Madeleine Morris, you'll know as characters such as Midori in After School Dice Club, Inka, what the fuck is that last name?
Kasugatani?
Yeah, Inka Kasugatani in Fire Force, and, of course, the woman, the myth, the legend, Frederica Greenhill from Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Dinu Atessa. Emmy Lowe you'll know as Rako Yumiya in A Certain Scientific Railgun T, Asano Izumi in Kono Ototomare, and Organ in Demon Lord Retry. Lucy Christian you'll know as Recovery Girl in My Hero Academia, the narrator in Okami-san and Her Seven Companions, and Asuna Kagarazaka in the Negima franchise. You know what? I feel like mixing things up this time, so Gigi can go first.
All right, I'll make this super quick. Madeleine Morris as Sarah. I really like almost everything that Madeleine Morris does. She seemed very smooth in this, and I also thought she really embodied the character very well. Like, Sarah seemed very carefree, but at the same time, she has this kind of worldly air about her, and I feel that came through in the voice acting, which was great. As for Shoko Takaoka, so I was watching these episodes with the boyfriend, and I was like, wow, that sounds like Lucy Christian putting on like a fake British Queen accent. And he's like, that is Lucy Christian. I was like, are you serious? So at first, like, it sounded like her, but it didn't sound like her. It sounded like Lucy Christian trying to play a grandma. Or if you've ever seen Princess Tutu, I think, no, wait. Okami-san and Her Seven Companions, where she plays the narrator.
Yes, she
Sounds like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly why I put that there.
I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. It was good. Lucy Christian can't do anything bad ever. So I just like, why does it sound so affected? And he's like, well, she's supposed to be old. And I was like, oh yeah, I forget. Lucy Christian plays a lot of small girls. And then finally, Fumio, right?
Yeah.
By Emmy Lowe. I don't know why, but this performance made me cry. Like, I don't know why, but when she was crying, I was crying, and I was like,
Aww.
holy shit. I felt that the performance was really passionate, and that her voice sounded like, what the fuck is it? Fumio was inspired by Chiyuki. And there were points where I feel like she's supposed to be, like, in a magazine, like, that's her job, and she's supposed to be very professional, and I felt like she let the passion overtake the professionalism, which I thought was great, because sometimes if you really love your job and you know are so passionate about something, you kind of have to let that leak a little bit. No matter what anybody says, you have to let the facade down. So that is what I thought of these ladies.
Let's see. Rich, you can go second this time.
All right. So, lo and behold, I really like Madeleine Morris' Sarah. And I particularly liked it because Madeleine Morris is an actress playing a character in a show that is putting on an act.
Ooh.
You right.
Throughout Sarah's appearance in Smile Down the Runway, at least the season that we have, I don't know anything further in the manga, almost everything you see of her, she's putting on a facade. That is her public persona. That is what she's, the bubbly, poppy. I picked up a lot about that on the episode where they were starting the Geika Academy, like, the big fashion event.
Right, because
the festival.
Because
the
while
festival,
while Ikuto was doing research, the point was brought up that there's basically two sides to Sarah, essentially.
Right. And you really don't see the other side of Sarah, the sort of worldliness of her, until the very end of the show. Where she's commenting on, I think it was Ikuto's, yeah, it was Ikuto's line, right?
It could be that, or when she was commenting on Kokoro specifically.
You know what?
Remember,
it might
she
have
knows
been
Kokoro.
Yeah, because she knows Kokoro from being a model.
Yep.
And she's like, she's usually so cold and standoffish.
Right.
Like, that to me was the only time you actually see the real Sarah come out in the course of the season. But I really like that. Madeleine Morris really did not only bring out sort of the poppiness and sort of the bubblegum nature of Sarah's on-camera personality, she also made it feel synthetic, which I thought was really great. And unfortunately, in the second half of the season, She had equipment malfunction because they switched over to home recording.
That's the speculation. It's not confirmed. I know where you're going with this.
Well,
That's
no, she actually
speculation.
did say she had equipment problems.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she confirmed it on her Twitter.
Oh, I thought it was just speculation.
Yeah, so hopefully when they come around to the home video, that can sort of be touched up. It was definitely noticeable in the latter half.
Okay.
But overall, the performance itself was great. I don't remember much of Emmy Lowe because I kind of watched this in weird chunks. I do remember the fashion show where she was inspired and all the hoops she jumped through to try and get in contact with Chiyuki. Like, that really stuck out for me. I thought she did a great job. It's just she is probably not going to be very important until later. But I thought it was a good choice. And, you know, I gotta say, I really like Old Lady Lucy. I like that voice. I thought she did a really great job sort of making her boisterous and... You know, it does feel a little hokey at first, but then again, I'm also used to her as Recovery Girl, so this voice wasn't really a surprise for me. But I thought she was able to really shine through despite, you know, like, putting on this heavy and different air to her. Like, she felt warm, she felt motherly. It was great, so... All in all, I liked all three of these.
I'll be quick because I pretty much have the same thoughts on all three of these performances as Gigi and Roots do. So Madeleine Morris is very sweet, she does have this energy and exudes this charisma that Sarah just has to have to possess, and I just loved every second of it. And it is also interesting the connection of, like, Madeline is acting as Sarah, who is acting as a personality of Sarah, basically. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I kind of forgot about that a little bit, but I love it. She just has this beautiful flow of, like, very positive and bright energy, and just exudes this charisma that you can't just help but latch onto, and I really, really enjoy that. Emmy Lowe as Fumio. I like her. She's so cute and adorable and shy. And I also liked those early episodes with Yanagida's fashion show, where she's just kind of down and like, I don't know about this. Like, how can someone like me really get involved in fashion and things like that? And then she just gets this dose of inspiration from Chiyuki, and it's just the sweetest and purest little thing in the world. I want more good things for Fumio 100%, and I want more good things for Emmy Lowe, because weirdly enough, in the past few days, because I had
yeah, Emmy Lowe's on the up and up.
Yeah,
let's go with that.
Yeah, like, I watched a show that I recently recorded. It'll come out probably long before this one. One of the anniversary episodes, and then we started a show that just premiered the dubwise yesterday. And even though it was small, and that conversation is probably going to circle back around a little bit later on, but I do want to see Emmy Lowe in more things. She's just such a fun presence, and I think she can contribute so much, and I'm curious to know what more she can do. And the fact that I looked at the listing, and Megan purposefully, I knew this was on purpose, she purposefully put the narrator from Okami-san under Lucy Christian's name.
As if that isn't also one of my favorite anime.
Also true. But then it's like, oh shit, Shoko is the narrator from Okami-san and her 7 companions. Like, hands down. This is basically the same voice, at least tone-wise, from Okami-san that Lucy is channeling here for Shoko. But I still love it so much, because she's just such a sweet, supportive, like, I don't know, grandmotherly is the term, at least a bit more of a maternal figure of sorts, like a guiding hand to all of the students, though specifically to Ikuto. And can I just say, it was just the sweetest thing where she comes up to Ito at the end and is like, here, have an application for the school. And I'm like, yay! It was so cute. But no, Lucy has a fantastic energy to her, very boisterous, as Roots described it. But it's not hammy, it's not over the top. For me, it seemed like the right amount for this kind of character, and you just can't help but fall in love with it. I'm done.
Okay, I'll make this kind of quick. Madeleine Morris, she sounded a lot more mature than I think I'm used to hearing Madeleine Morris characters be, outside of Frederica. Like, Frederica being... I think I asked her on Twitter one night, I'm like, which character could handle their alcohol the best that you play? And she goes, probably Frederica, because Frederica's the only adult that I play.
True facts.
Or something like that. So it was nice getting to hear her play a character who is obviously, like, probably a 20-something, and maybe a little bit more, like, to her own natural, like, register and stuff. Let's see. Shoko. Yeah, it's just Lucy Christian's narrator voice from Okami, which I fucking love. If you've never watched Okami's 107 Companions, do it because the narrator is hysterical.
The narrator is the best part of the show.
I disagree because Micah's character exists, but that's another story for another episode.
You're right, that too.
Like, who is Megan's favorite character in Okami-san? It's Licht. And then Emi Lo as Fumio is really interesting because the only other thing I've ever watched Emi Lo in is Kimono Friends.
Yep.
Because she is Asian small clawed daughter. Also, shout out to Emi Lo's adorable kitten Noctis, who is the floofiest baby. I really, really liked her, and I think the thing that I liked her was what Gigi brought up, where it's like, she gets these moments of being really unprofessional, because, in a sense, she's a bit of the audience avatar for a lot of things, because she doesn't know a lot about fashion, and she totally isn't interested at first, and by the end of the show, she is probably as invested as you, the viewer, is. And I think that those types of characters are always a little bit more tricky to play, especially when they're not the major focus of the series, because there are a lot of times where you don't see Fumio for a lot, but when she pops up, she's there to kind of explain things and be the person who's questioning things, because obviously she's new to this, and that's kind of the show's way of using that introduction. And I think Emi gets to bridge that in a way that is really promising. And for a lot of people, they may not know Emi Lo yet, even though Emi Lo has been in things like Demon Lord Retry, which was a show on Funimation last year. She's in the Love Live Sunshine movie, but I'm not saying it's who, because that is spoilers for that movie, and I don't want to ruin that for people. /B, I only know what it is because somebody spoiled it for me. And she's in stuff from this year, like Railgun, which is a pretty big franchise. And obviously she's in a dub that started as of the time of this recording yesterday, but we're not saying the name of, mostly because I'm doing an episode on that, and I want to save my thoughts for that.
I've never heard her before.
So there we go. Gigi literally has never heard her before. So obviously she's somebody, if you liked Smile Down the Runway and you liked the performance of that character, she's somebody who maybe you want to keep your ears tuned in for. Let's move from the fashion observers to some fashion makers. There is Hazume Yanagita, who is a fashion designer who worked at Miel Neige and branched off to make his own line. He is essentially overworked, wants to die, hates everything, and eventually by the end of the show, he gets picked up by,
Aphrodite? I think.
Aphrodite.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the millennial experience.
Yes. Jesus Christ. There we go. But he is kind of Ikuto's grumpy old mentor character. Like, Ikuto gets sent to his place and he immediately tells Ikuto to do something. Ikuto fucks up, he tries to run him out. He also goes through everybody's disaster day doing his first show. There is Ryonosuke Ada, who is a second-year student at Geika, who specializes in men's fashion, but he tries to get into the Geika's festival through women's fashion. He's kind of an antagonistic little asshole, and his friend is Karu Kizuki, a up-and-coming another student at Geika, who essentially goes to Yanagita's fashion show and becomes pretty much Ikuto's one-sided rival because she hates him because he decided to help out where she froze up and couldn't. She also works with Leather, making her the most metal character in the show.
Hell yeah.
She's also got, like, probably one of the coolest side character designs, too. She's, like, got a shaved head and, like, wears one earring.
I love her.
She is aesthetic. Playing Hazume Yanagita is John Bergmeyer. Playing Ryonosuke Eda is Nazish Tarsha. And playing Karu Kizaki is Elizabeth Maxwell. John Bergmeyer you'll know as characters such as Shigure Soma in both Fruits Basket animes, Hajime Shibata in Hellgirl, and Eyes Rutherford in Spiral. Nazir Tarsha you'll know as Hikaru Shibiyama in the Junji Ito collection, Renee Laurent in Code Geass Akita the Exiled, and Raihan in Pokemon Twilight Wings. And if you've never seen Raihan, he is basically Megan's Pokemon husband. I love Raihan. He's a thought.
You like the Dragon Boy.
Have you seen him?
Yes.
He just keeps taking selfies. He's adorable. I love him.
He's great.
He's also married to Leon. Don't tell anybody. Elizabeth Maxwell you'll know as Miko Koneji in anime Gatoris, Lisa in Fire Force, and Victorious in Show by Rock Season 2. Let's mix things up again and start off with Roots.
Guess I'll start with John Bergmeyer. I just love his chaotic, tired energy. Like, he is just... He never knows if he wants to smack someone or hug him. And it's just absolutely... He's just a lovable grump. Like, in that kind
grump.
In that kind of Gordon Ramsay-esque... Like, you can tell he cares, but he's got to be an asshole about it. Like, one of the weirdest things is seeing, like, the Gordon Ramsay kids show where he's just this gentle and encouraging mentor. And then you go to Hell's Kitchen and he's just, like, berating people. Like, that, it feels like that was the aesthetic John Bergmeyer was going for, and I absolutely adore it. On to the little gremlin duo. Nazi is an actor I have my eye on for a different show for, like, a one-off character, because I thought that was cool. I don't know if we're doing an episode on it, so I'm not going to say anything. But it was recent, like, this season in which we're recording. He plays the little shit gremlin really well in this. Like, I gotta say. Like, I love the last episode. Particularly with him and Elizabeth Maxwell, just like, did we just suddenly become friends with this guy?
Yep.
To Ikuto. Like, they spend the whole second half of the show trying to take him down in the fashion festival. That at the very end, when everybody's been ranked, they're just like, suddenly they become best friends, and I adore it. In particular, Elizabeth Maxwell and the reveal where she is antagonistic toward Ikuto because of her own anxiety and she can't get over herself. I really like that. Like, that was great. I liked all three of these performances, but really, they show up just enough for me to form an opinion, but not very much, so thumbs up. I hope to see more of them if we get a season 2. Give us a season 2.
I'll start with Rinosuke and Kizuki first. Oh boy. So, with Kizuki, I really love Elizabeth Maxwell. When you give Elizabeth Maxwell a character... I love Elizabeth Maxwell when she gets to play characters that can be very commanding and have a strong presence, and Kizuki is no exception to this, because she does have that strong presence, and this competitive nature to her, but, like Roots was just saying, there's also that slight anxiety and the fact she can't get over herself, where we find out, because you don't find out until probably, like, the last third of the show, that this is why Kizuki hates Ikuto, and it's for probably the stupidest of reasons, because shonen logic. No, but she's very sharp-tongued, has a competitive nature, and is just so much fun, and I loved every second of it. Ryonosuke and Nazi. This is, I think, actually the first time I get to talk about him. I'm looking this over currently. Just the credits that Megan has posted, because I don't even think we talked about him in Junji Ito collection, I don't think. But Ryonosuke, because I'm not familiar with Nazi as an actor right now, Ryonosuke was a little bit of a rough time for me, I guess. It's a little hard to describe because it's probably, I'm going to chalk it up to I'm not used to this voice and I'm trying to equate it to other things. But Ryonosuke, he can be such an antagonistic kind of persona and character, but he is also a nice guy. And he's just like, are you an idiot? Like, why are you being nice to everybody? You realize this is a competitive industry, right? But I'm mostly
not realizing that, you need to be nice to people in order to open doors.
Networking is a thing that exists, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. No, like, it seemed rough to me at the start, but I think it's only because I'm not used to Nazi as an actor, and his range and what he's able to do. By the end of it, I was a bit more comfortable with it, and it's also now to the point where it's like, okay, I want to keep an eye on you and see what you can do and where things can go from here. I might be making a huge mistake. Was Nazi in Millionaire Detective?
Yes.
Okay. Same person. Got it. By the way, Millionaire Detective, I loved his short little bit role, and it was fantastically done. Side note. If you watched episode 1, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the real trooper of this group is John Bergmeyer as Yanagita. Because Roots aptly described him very well as a very tired, very competitive person who just wants to get shit done and wants to, like, get his name out there. And as much of an asshole as he can be, he does have his little moments where he's very caring and wanting to, like, push his interns in the right direction, i.e. Ikuto and Kokoro. Like, he has those little moments. I like the little moment at the end where he just texts Ikuto and is like, come to work next Saturday, be there. After he supposedly had quit and all this fun stuff. But I like John's personality with this role. It's a tone that's Megan might either agree or punch me in the face. It's similar to Shigure to an extent, but a bit more dickish.
It is a little bit.
A little bit more dickish than Shigure.
Which is saying a lot about Shigure.
100%. But I really enjoy it. He's very, very, very brutal of a character. Very brutal, honest, no nonsense. And as a taste of what the industry is actually like for up-and-coming fashion designers, he's probably the perfect mentor for Ikuto, if anything. So I enjoyed every second of John's performance. But all three of these roles are great, with the small rough exception of Nazi, but I'm going to chalk that up to me not knowing him as an actor quite yet, and this being one of my first outings with him.
Gigi.
So I'll go exactly opposite to what Stephanie just said. Let's talk about our good buddy Ryonosuke, our new friend Nazi. Hello, welcome to Dub Talk.
Oh no, here we go.
So okay,
we haven't had one of these in a while.
I know. I really like this, and I don't know why. I don't know. I can't tell you why, except for one thing that I will say in about a second. It sounded normal, but he was still, like, really over the top in everything, which I enjoyed, because he was a part of it where he was actually, like, one of the contestants on Project Runway who was, like, freaking out over stuff. And then when he didn't get chosen, he was like, well, I got to do this to be in, so I'll just do this to get my name out there or whatever. The networking comes in, and you know how it goes. In his voice nuance, he reminds me of Alejandro Saab.
Really?
Oh, wow.
There's some little thing in his voice that reminds me of Alejandro's voice, that where I can pick out his characters now. So now I'm going to get confused, except for the fact that I haven't heard Alejandro in a new dub in a hot fucking minute. Where are you? I know you're in California, but I miss you, you cinnamon roll. Jeez. I miss you in anime.
He had a one-off role in Millionaire Detective in episode 1.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
So.
But I think he showed up there. I thought he showed up at I know he showed up at Shield Hero, but that was last year.
Yeah, I miss him.
Too busy. He's too busy. He's too busy being a sewer rat.
I know, which is great. That's amazing. But I miss him in anime because I haven't gotten to that part in Fire Emblem yet, and I have to do that one last. And I don't know when I'll get there. Maybe.
No, you can play. No, you can play the DLC whenever you want. Just be prepared to fucking hate yourself or have Chris.
Oh,
do
okay.
it.
Well, maybe I'll have him do it then. I'll just watch the cutscenes. I'm really good at that. Kaoru Kiza.
Get Chris to do it.
Just do it, honey. Just play it so Mama can watch the Fire Emblem cutscenes. Thank you.
She wants to see Sewer Rat Alejandro. It's fine.
I'm not gonna lie that is like legitimately one of my favorite performances.
Anyway,
Kaoru Kizaki, Elizabeth Maxwell. This girl is the epitome of Please Step on Me, along with like all of the adult women except for what's his face's mom in this show, and I fucking love it. The Please Step on Me lady is my aesthetic. I'm all about this
girl.
She is blessed and she will step on you. I think Kaoru and Elizabeth's performance as her, she's the best bitch with a heart, but it's hidden because she's so angry the whole time because she's bitter that something inside of herself didn't come out. So like she blames Ikuto, but it's not really Ikuto's fault. It's her fault. So it's like, it's a hard line to balance there. Right. I really love this. Kaoru, her designing is very unbalanced, but I felt that the performance in the dub was very balanced, which kind of is a nice way to look at the two different sides of things, especially in a dub for a small character. So I thought that was really well performed. And then we have Yanagita, Mr. John Bergmeyer. I don't know who this is. So I was very happy that his performance did not bend to a stereotype because of all the characters except for maybe Toe. I felt that this one could have bent the most to a stereotype that may have offended some people. And I really appreciate that choice that was made. It was very alpha male, and I'm going to use like Kamu levels without being like, please let me step on you, Kamu. So I felt like alpha, but like down a couple levels. Like he's not going to step on you, but he just might like kick you a little bit. It's fine. I really liked the performance. And like I said, I'm really glad that it didn't bend to a stereotype, which I don't know if that's direction or the way that the character flowed or just the choices in the booth, but whatever it was, I thought it was a really good job. Because like I said, it could have gone in a totally different direction. From the very first shot that you see this character, you're thinking, this is not the voice that I expect coming out of his mouth. And I'm glad that John Bergmeyer had that kind of voice and had the performance that he did in order to flesh out this character more and make him more three-dimensional.
Gigi, have I mentioned that I love you and I fucking miss you?
I miss you guys too.
We're talking about two fucking characters, and the words "please step on me" were used in some form or fashion. I fucking miss you.
I want to say that I would like to point out that in the Japanese that I need to look this up really quick. Thank God I've googled Smile Down the Runway so many times.
I know.
I was like, yeah, I know Yanagita Suwabe.
Yeah, he's Renjin Guji, which is actually more of the stereotype than the English voice was. So, I mean, I'll take it because it's Junichi Suwabe, but, you know.
You're
I
like,
did my
yes,
homework.
Thank you. You're like, thank you.
Me going back to watch English
I was like,
Renjin Guji is going into fashion now. It's great.
God bless.
When does Yanagita stand on the roof and play the saxophone?
That's episode 13. That's in the OVA.
That's the Yanagita's just like, Poor Root is here like, I fucking own all of Udapre. Oh my god, the best checks we ever got in group chat was Roots being like, my dad just asked what Udapre is because it's on our family's Plex server.
But what was the description?
Oh god, what did I describe it as? I had to describe male idols to him.
Uh-huh.
That was fun.
Nazi is, again, an actor I'm not familiar with, even though I've watched Code Geass Akito the Exiled. It's the best part of Code Geass. Fuck you, fight me.
I mean, not wrong.
Wrong.
Gigi is over, party is coming. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god, my hashtag!
My
You
brand!
could never be... My brand. You could never be over, baby.
Oh yes.
Oh, yes. So, I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised. It was mostly because I could not for the life of me figure out who the fuck was playing Rinosuke. But I liked him. Gigi's right. He does sound like he would just be coming off an episode of Project Runway where he got eliminated for not following the directions. He also has this moment of you can't eliminate me, I'm eliminating myself. And he just fucking quits. And then I love when he gets super pissed at Toe. Because Toe's like, I don't fucking want you on my team, you suck. And he's like, bitch! And then Ikto's like, hey buddy, I heard you need a team. I don't want to be on your fucking team either. Okay.
That was the best.
That was great.
I want to be in your fucking team. Okay. And I really like the way that he balanced off of Karu, who is Elizabeth Maxwell, who I also could not tell this was Elizabeth Maxwell. I had to look that up. Elizabeth does a really great job. I think that she really holds it kind of all together. I think that she's got a bitchy attitude, but she is not a bitch. If you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like, there's this stereotypical catty mean girl, and then there is the anger and bitchiness of somebody who is immensely focused on the project and hates themselves for being insecure about their passions, and that they want to go far. And I really think that it's kind of funny that the show goes out of its way to compare her about how much she kind of is leaning on Yanagida's designs, where I feel like Elizabeth and John Bergwire both had very similar performances. Their characters acted almost very similar to each other, because it's very clear that she is in many ways shaped by Yanagida's attitudes. And John as Yamagita is a lot of fun. I couldn't believe it was him at first, and then I kind of started hearing a lot of he's a more angry Seishin from Shiki.
Yep.
That's what I heard, not Shigure, more Seishin.
Yep, I hear that now too.
God, I hate that Shiki's out of print, so I can't, refer. Just go please watch the Shiki. Also, it's a perfect spooky month anime.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. I think of, between... We're not talking about his character, because unfortunately that character doesn't show up a lot. Chris Wakehamp as Chiyuki's dad.
Yeah.
I think he was a little bit more gruff than him, and a little, and it's good, even though he's younger, but it's clearly more also that this guy is just very high-strung, even if he doesn't show it. And I really like the way that he has this kind of curt way, John has this kind of curt way of speaking as Yanagita, when he's talking about the people who works for him, because he never calls any of them by their actual name.
That's the best.
Yep. He calls Ito Bob, I think he calls Toe Silver, and he calls Kokoro the tall one.
Yep.
And to me, I think some of the best comedy just comes between how, soft and scared Kokoro is having to deal with this fucker. You're just like, Kokoro, please just kick him like a giraffe and leave.
You're a big girl, you can do this.
Just kick him in the nuts. Just kick him in the nuts and get out of there. But again, and that's something I want to compliment the cast members that we've talked about from the last two segments, is that a lot of them do have very good performances, but I don't think that any of them overwhelm the main cast of this show, and they very much do a thing where I think it was Christopher Bevins at a panel that we went to at Anime Boston talked about fitting a cast together like a puzzle piece.
Yes, it was
a
him.
bunch of puzzles pieces, and then you just find that one actor who slips in perfectly. And that's the thing that I really like about good dubs, is that a good dub has an almost invisible feel to it, and so far, a lot of the cast members in this, it's kind of very seamlessly fit into these characters, but they don't overwhelm the main cast. So let's move on from the fashion world to the not-so-fashion world, but the people who inspired Iketo. Let's talk about the ladies of the Sumera family. There is Yuriko Sumera, who is the Sumera family matriarch, who is very sick with unknown disease. She's got anime mom disease. Let's go with that.
Wrong hair.
She gets better,
She's
though.
at least here.
She got better.
She got better because Gigi said it. She didn't have the right haircut.
It's true.
If she would have had a side pony, she would have been dead in episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
Oh lord.
There is Hanukkah Sumera, the oldest sister of the Sumera family. She is really smart and trying to go to a good school, and I think of all the Sumera sisters, she kind of has the most screen time and effect on the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I would actually like to genuinely point out that her and Iketo's relationship is some of the sweetest stuff in the show.
Yes, 100%.
Like, it actually genuinely made me cry. Aoi Sumera is the middle child. She is athletic, good at volleyball. And Ichika Sumera is a preschool-level adorable princess. Please protect. She just wants her brother to be happy and make her pretty clothes. Playing Yuriko is Brianna Roberts. Playing Hanukkah is Leah Clark. Playing Aoi is Trina Nishimura. And playing Ichika is Jade Saxton. Brianna Roberts you'll know as Kayako Huang in Fire Force, Mirai in Conception, and Maev Hoshisato in Hayatana Illusion. Leah Clark you'll know characters such as Yukio Kanzaki in Assassination Classroom, Shinsen in Defrag, to which I forget who Shisen is.
I believe it's the pukey girl.
Oh, the girl who keeps throwing up.
Yes.
And Mina in Teasing Master Tagaki-san. Trina Nishimura you'll know as characters such as Aiko Kudo in Baka and Test, Sally in Black Clover, and Kurusu Makise in Steins Gate. Every Steins Gate fan just came out of the woodworks to stab me for butchering her name.
Yeah, good job. Run.
I can't run. I'll just roll. I'm fat. Just curl up into a ball and go downhill. Jade Saxton you'll know as characters such as Eve Genoward in Bakano, Taki in Hero's Tale, and Mana Ashura in Luck and Logic. Roots, go first.
Sure. I actually don't have too much to say. I thought all four of these ladies played their respective characters with a great familial warmth. Like, Jade was really cute as the youngest. Trina did the really sporty, athletic sister really well. And Brianna Roberts did the sickly mom also really well. And when she shows up for the fashion festival for Iketo's set, that was also really... Like, when she called out to him, I shed a bit of a tear. Let's be real.
I did too.
But I think the real winner here is Leah Clark. I thought she got a really great emotional arc out of her story and her interactions with Iketo. Like, she never once seemed as much as stressed out and angry as she got over the course of the show. She never seemed like she didn't care. She wanted to see Iketo succeed as much as Iketo does. And it really frustrated her every time he would give something up in order to... And a lot of the times it wasn't even like... He could have reasonably done some of these things, and it wouldn't have sacrificed too much for his sisters, but he does it anyway, because he really wants to make sure they succeed, and... Like, it was a great little family dynamic. I really like these performances.
I'm going to start with Trina and Jade because the two of them, they don't have as much involvement or to do in the story that Leah and Brianna have. So I'll start with the two of them. They are both very precious. Jade is a precious cinnamon roll, too good and pure for this earth. This child must be protected at all times, and I want her to grow to be a beautiful, beautiful, pretty princess. Ikuto make her a princess. Remember, she's supposed to be, what was it, Cinderella in her school's little play that they were doing. Side note, make her a princess, Ikuto. Do it.
She's a precious small bean.
She's so precious. Bush protect. Trina is fun as more of like the sporty kind of like tomboy, but she actually has a tiny little bit in episode 10 as well during Ikuto's show, because I really loved Ikuto's show because it pulled together so many little things that are like little nods to his family, and it's the sweetest thing, with Aoi's being the color blue because she loves the color blue so much, and that little bit was precious, but Trina does very well with the wonderful tomboyish middle child sister. Leah I also really liked. Leah and Brianna actually have notes for compared to the other two. Leah has such a kind heart, but that also wants others to strive for their own goals. Like Roots was saying, there's a point fairly early on in the show where Ikuto is putting his family first instead of his dreams, and that kind of really upsets Hanukkah very much, to the point where the two of them end up in a fight and she doesn't talk to him for a little while. But Hanukkah is she's such a sweet, kind person, wanting the best for everybody. She's very selfless in that regard. She wants the best for everybody else but her own, which explains Ikuto's personality in a nutshell as well. Family genetics. But I loved Leah's portrayal of it. And, oh man, episode 8 did give you a little bit of a gut punch when Ikuto goes to the hospital to find Hanukkah. And she's just upset and crying and all upset. And it's just, breaks my heart. Leah does it very well. And Brianna Roberts, speaking of episode 8, I really loved her performance in that episode in particular. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, especially the part where she's narrating the note that she wrote to her kids. That was very heartfelt and beautiful, and I just loved every second of it. The first time I watched it, I did cry a little bit during it. When Andrew watched it with me, because before production was halted on the dub, he only watched them through episode 5. I had already watched episode 8 by that point. So when he watched it with me, he started crying a little bit too. And I just loved it. It was such a beautiful scene and a beautiful moment for Brianna. And I think that's one of the highlights, I should say, of Yuriko as a character. The other one being what Roots already described towards the end during Ikuto's showcase, where she just calls out to him and starts crying. And again, I also cried during that. Brianna Roberts is not a name that I know very well, but I would love to see her doing much more things and being more beautiful, precious mother characters. I think that'd be fantastic. I'm trying to remember who she was in Fire Force. I think she's one of the other fire captains, if I'm correct.
She's the captain of, I think, Company 6, who is the medical one.
Okay, yep. I think that's it.
Yeah, she's the head of the medical team.
Got it. Yep, now I remember. But I would love to see Brianna in more things. But in general, the whole family is just so wonderful and supportive, and they balance each other very, very well, and I loved every second of it.
All right, Gigi, go for it.
Why do I always have to be the bitch?
Oh no!
Why is it always me?
It's not that you're being the bitch. I'm just sensing you have to be a little critical is all.
Well, let's start with people who I don't have a lot to say about. Poor Jade Saxton suffers from the most stilted dialogue in this entire show. To be fair, it's also stilted in the Japanese, this poor girl, but she still is super cute as little Ichika. But wow, her dialogue is just woof. Trina Nishimura, she doesn't say a lot. This is my character type. It was very downplayed, which I enjoyed because it's a nice contrast from like the sporty type who usually will just yell a lot. So I enjoyed that. Leah Clark as Hanukkah. This is a hard character. She has to be level-headed because she's supposed to be very, very smart. But she's really emotional. And sometimes she has to get a little bratty, like when she's fighting with Ikuto. And let me tell you, I was the one who watched this first, and I said, wait, everyone, until you get to episode 8, when the tears will fall and they will not stop until the end of the anime. Because from then on, like, I was just a hot train wreck mess, could not stop crying. That's what happened when I watched Nana, but Nana's 47 episodes, so I won't tell you where I started and stopped there. That's a little embarrassing.
Oh, no.
Nana's also my favorite anime of all time. I like the train wreck crying. When Hanukkah was having her meltdown, I believed it. I believed that Leah Clark was like losing her mind in the most horrible way possible, which is great voice acting. Like, it's very hard if you're not actually crying and losing your shit to sound like you're crying in a believable manner, and this did. And then we have the mom. And I feel really terrible about this. I just wrote a sad face. I feel like, okay, so this is either like, this is me with my, I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt. This could be a very conscious choice, or it could just be, this is how I felt while I was listening to it. But it wasn't only me, because Chris also watched these episodes and he kind of had the same feelings that I did. I felt that this pulled me out of the anime.
Okay.
And I know she's trying to be a mom, but I did not feel any emotion from her until Ikuto's fashion show at the end. That's when I felt it, and I felt that that's where Yuriko hit her stride, and that's where I heard the emotion behind the voice, was at the very end, and it sucks that it took the whole series for it to get there. Now, I will say, if this is a conscious choice to not let her children know how sick she actually is by faking it the whole time, then that's a friggin' brilliant choice. Like, because I was just like, why does this not sound right? Like, just in my ear. And then Chris was watching it and he was like, yeah, this is kind of weird. And I was like, then in episode 8, you learn that she's sicker than she lets on. So I was like, well, is it a thing where it doesn't sound right because she's completely faking it to try and make herself sound well, but she literally can't sound well enough because she's so sick? Like, this is where my brain is like, maybe it is a conscious choice. But like I said, I couldn't feel the emotion until the very end. If that was a conscious choice, Jesus Christ, Brianna Roberts is really great at this, but I don't know. I honestly, like, and I feel really bad. I feel really bad saying that it took me out, but every time, like, I was like, that, it sounded like, I know everybody's recording from home, but it sounded like literally like if you're watching a movie when you can tell a line is added in post. Like, that's what it sounded like. Like, it shouldn't be in there. Like, it's put in there to try and explain something or try and add something that wasn't in the original dialogue, if that makes sense. Like, you can tell when a line is 80 yard in. I don't know. But that's my thoughts on that. And it's such a small role, and I feel really bad because I really, like, you know me, I want everybody to be super great and amazing. And I just, like, I really hope that was the choice that she went for. But like I said, we don't know. So,
You know, that's honestly very fair. That's honestly a very fair assessment.
Well, don't feel bad, because when I get to my own feelings on Brianna, we'll get to there. Jade is Ichika. She was just the cute, adorable, precocious little girl. Unfortunately, Ichika doesn't get to do a lot because Ichika is like 4. And as we all know, children aren't allowed to do things in anime unless it's an anime about kids. Aoi, Trina as Aoi, I also feel like blended into the background. She kind of has her moment during Ito's fashion show where you learn that she was kind of bullied because her brother made her gloves and she doesn't want them anymore. And she kind of gets like little things in the middle of the series. Like, I think at one point, Ikuto and her kind of have this fight when he's really stressed out about the show.
Yeah.
And she's like, take a shower. And he's just like, would you fucking leave me alone, basically? And you're like, whoa, chill down, my dude. Also, I'm sorry for the crinkling noises. I need to, like, touch something, and the booby pillow isn't doing it for me right now.
It's not doing it for me anymore, guys.
Like, if you don't know, like, I have to always be, like, playing with something while I record, or, like, I just will go off. I'm focused on what I'm doing, but, like, my hands have to be doing something. Leah as Hanukkah is, I think, like, probably one of my favorite performances in the show, just because it is just so good. Like, she absolutely nails being, like, that's the one thing about her and I think Ikuto is they are very clearly two kids who have to be adults. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't get to be kids because they're poor and they have a single mom who is in the hospital and they're in debt. And Hanukkah, more than Ikuto, has a very tangible talent that she can put to use and get a scholarship because she's smart. And people will pay good money for her to be smart and she can get scholarships, but Ikuto's passions put him in a place where he's got to fight for everything he's got, and so does she in a sense, and they have this kind of great balance off each other, but they also butt heads a lot, whether it be about money or about their feelings, because there's also a great scene, I think, in episode 4 where she absolutely fucking loses it on him because he doesn't call them.
Yep.
And say where he is. And you can hear in Leah's performance, the voice of a scared teenager who has to be the family mom, because mom isn't there and dad's dead. And you can hear her trying to sound like she's all grown up, but it's clear that she's not. And she's just and it's like she said, she's freaking the fuck out. She has to have these moments. I think in episode 8, where she's got the letter and she freaks out because Ikuto didn't come immediately. And Ikuto's literally got to piece the letter back together because she's ripped it up. And you can kind of hear a lot of the hurt in her voice, but I think the absolute sweetest moment in the entire show for Hanukkah, and I think Leah sells it, is when Ikuto and her are both so nervous that they go to the bathroom. And, Ikuto's freaking out and she puts on the one song that they both like to listen to. And you just kind of hear her, like kind of moaning a little bit and, like, just freaking out. And then she comes back and then she kind of starts crying because, she hears the song and Aoi goes, "Are you crying?" And she's like, "No." And then later on, Aoi starts crying. She goes, "So are you crying, Aoi?" She's like, "No." And then Brianna. Oh man, I'm torn like Gigi, where I think Gigi brings up a fantastic point of, if it was intentional that she's trying to be a little more emotionless and in control of things to hide that she is very sick and close to death and only overcomes that at the end, then good job. But I also felt that there was a lot of kind of flat line deliveries. Because I honest to God thought that the mom that she dies right before Ikuto's show, and I thought that's where the show was going, and I was actually surprised that she gets to see her son's fashion show.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna die.
I thought she was fucked, man. But I do think that when she has that moment at the very end where she screams out that, like, Ikuto, I'm proud of you, is like the very large comeuppance of full circle of her show, and yeah, I thought that moment was great. But I think out of everybody in the show, she's the performance I am very much mixed upon. And it might be one of those judge it for yourselves, and genuinely, if I ever got to meet Brianna, like, at a panel or anything, I would actually like to know what her mindset was recording this character, just because I think that would give me a little bit more of an appreciation to her character or her performance. But again, this isn't something that we can just go, like, hey, on our Twitter, like, hey, what was your thought process? Spoil this entire show for us.
Exactly.
Whereas at a panel, I think that's a little bit more fair, because everybody in the room is kind of like alright, anybody can ask anything, spoilers, you just kind of know going in there.
Right, yeah.
So there you go. Alright, moving on from actual moms to stage moms, meaning that they're fucking bitches.
Well, one of them is a bitch.
One of them's a bitch. One of them is who I would call the genuine villain of the show.
You know, not wrong.
Even though she's not really much of a villain. There's Yu Igarashi and Shizuku Naruko. Shizuku, I'll go over first, is a former top model that works for Millionaire. She is basically Chiyuki's kind of idol, but when Chiyuki stops growing, she's the person who has to constantly tell her to stop it. But deep down, she never can really bring herself to do it because she sees so much fight in Chiyuki, and in her mind, the only thing that is stopping her from being a top model is her size. Yu Igarashi hates Chiyuki because she was Chiyuki.
Yep.
She is a former model who worked with Shizuku, who now is a manager. She's specifically Kokoro's manager, who, in a lot of the implications of the story, did whatever she could to get herself out there.
Yep.
And I mean whatever she could. If you go by implicating shots, she's kind of a very cold person who, in the sense of the story, eventually gets challenged by Chiyuki that if she can pair up with Kokoro, the model that she manages, that Kokoro will be free from her obligations of being a model to follow her actual dreams. Playing Shizuku is Stephanie Young, and playing Yu is Colleen Clinkenbeard. Stephanie Young, you'll know as characters such as Echidna Paras in Black Cat, Nico Robin in the One Piece franchise, and Daru Dayu in Show by Rock. Colleen Clinkenbeard is not a stranger to a lot of people, but just in case you don't know, she is Suomi in Aquarion Evo, Miranda Lotto in the Gray Man franchise, and Misako Kurata in Kodacha. And you know, like Luffy and Momo, but those are the obvious ones.
I think I'm going to start with Colleen Clinkenbeard and Yu Igarashi. I like how cold she played it. Like, I really do. Like, she is probably the closest thing to an actual villain that this show has. Other than another character we'll be talking about a little later, but he's not really much of a... He's more of an antagonistic force than an actual villain. She is an absolute jerk to Kokoro throughout the course of the show until basically the very end, after she has been challenged and she shows up to Kokoro's fashion show, but at the same time she happens to be wearing the suit Kokoro made for her, even though she's not a fan of Kokoro doing fashion design. She wants her to be a model. And one other aspect that I absolutely adore about this performance, Colleen Clinkenbeard absolutely nails Yu's jealousy of Kokoro. You can tell, even before the monologue she had about, you know, everything she did to be a part of the fashion industry, you can tell that she is absolutely angry at Kokoro for wanting to give up the incredible talent of her height to pursue her other talent in actually designing clothes. I just absolutely love it, and I love the... Oh, what is a moment I absolutely adored? I just like this. I really did. And, it actually, despite the fact that I recognize the voice of Shizuku as Stephanie Young, it didn't entirely click until a little later. Just because I don't think I've heard Stephanie Young do a lot of voice acting in Funimation dubs other than Nico Robin as of recently. So it's definitely welcoming to see her in a show like this. And you know, like with Madeleine Morris, I appreciate the fact that Stephanie Young is basically playing a character who has to put on an act of her own. In this case, she has to act like she has to be the person Shizuku has to prove wrong. She absolutely does believe in Shizuku's goal to become a top model, but she has to be antagonistic towards that in order to drive Shizuku toward it. So
You're talking about Chiyuki,
Chiyuki.
right?
Yeah. I'm tired, guys.
It's been a
okay,
long
honey.
day.
I literally
Side
just
note,
got
he
off work
immediately-
2.5 hours ago.
I was about to say he basically almost immediately came back from work just to record a podcast.
I love you.
I love you too. But yeah, she absolutely has to be antagonistic towards Chiyuki in order to drive her towards her goal of becoming a top model. Without, I've heard a lot of voice actors, one of the pieces of advice that they give in panels when people, do the obvious question, how can I become a voice actor? They basically say, have somebody who you can prove wrong. And I think Stephanie Young does a really great job with that here. So I definitely enjoyed these two performances, and I will pass it on. Because I'm a tired boy.
Go ahead, Gigi.
All right. So Shizuku, played by Stephanie Young. I make a lot of Nana references to this anime because it reminds me a lot of Paradise Kiss, who has the same mangaka as Nana. So like if Nana were a mama, this would be Shizuku. She's very tough, yet there's a lot of love that comes across in the performance here. A lot of hope for Chiyuki to prove her wrong, and then just a lot of respect, like not only for Chiyuki but like for her craft as a whole, for modeling. So I think this role is really kind of like a little more complex than you could probably give it credit for. Unfortunately, it's only featured in a couple of episodes, but Stephanie does a great job. So Colleen Clinkenbeard, you're gonna hate me for this.
Uh-oh.
I just keep thinking of Chi from Brothers Conflict and all her pent up rage and aggression that she'd have in her.
Yes.
From having all those guys get up on her, and now she has become a fucking Yu Igarashi.
That's
I
amazing.
love-
I love this. This is a nice story progression now.
I loved this so much. Oh my god. This performance made me so happy. Yu is like totally like my female character type, and this bitch will step on you. You know how I said that what's his name wouldn't quite step on you? Oh no, she's got her 6-inch stiletto heels and she will smash on your face. Like Yu takes no prisoners, and I don't think this performance took any prisoners either. She was such a badass bitch. I was so happy. And then at the end, because Colleen showed Yu's humanity through just like not even dialogue lines, but like little noises that she made when you find out that Yu is wearing Kokoro's suit. And I just thought that that was fucking charming, that like the badass bitch has a heart after all. And that it came out through not only the character but through the performance. And even though she knows that Kokoro has won, like Kokoro doesn't have to be a model anymore, she can be a designer, she's very, very defeated, but she's not going to let that keep her down. And you can hear that in the performance. Like you know exactly what's going on. I love this a lot. This was friggin' great. Bravo, ladies. Next contestant,
Steph.
Yes. I'll start with Stephanie as well. Stephanie, talking about Stephanie. Woo! No, I love Stephanie Young as an actress. She is always phenomenal, and it's always a delight to hear her come in for different performances and roles. And this one is no different, like, because Shizuku is strict, but she shows support. And like Gigi and Ruth were saying, she pushes Chiyuki to be her best because she knows that Chiyuki can do it if she puts her mind to it. She just lacks the height. Everything else about her screams supermodel, 100%. And Stephanie is just a fun, supportive figure for Chiyuki. She's also a fun balance with Colleen's Igarashi as well, because both of them know each other from their days as being models, but Shizuku has more of a more relaxed viewpoint of the industry and where it's headed, whereas Igarashi is still stuck on the thought of, this is what it is to be a model. Why are you wasting your talents and all this fun junk? So I really love Stephanie as this fantastic role model, this fantastic mentor and figure. The second I saw Colleen on the screen harassing Kokoro, I wanted to punch Igarashi in the face. And when Steph wants to punch a character in the face, you know you done good. Because let's face it, if you want me to hate a character, that's the best way to do it. If I want to punch you in the face, you done good. Colleen, though, I think she does a fantastic job being this not necessarily spiteful character, but this very harsh, very brutal, she looks down on other people. She looked down on Chiyuki quite a bit, but again, that's only because she sees herself in Chiyuki at the same time. And then she really, really is horrible to Kokoro. Just like, you're not going to make it as a designer. Your only talent is modeling. This is what you have to do. Don't waste your time. Like Roots was saying, Igarashi is as close as you can get to a villain in this show. But I do want to point this out, and I don't know if anybody noticed this too, or I'm just being very, very weird. In the last third of the show, I think starting from episode 9 onward, I don't know why, but Colleen's tone of voice for the character sound much deeper than it did in earlier episodes. I don't know if that was a sudden character change, or if it was something else, or maybe I'm just absolutely fucking crazy and just picking up on something really weird. But it was just very weird, and it suddenly became a little bit jarring to me. I don't know what happened there, but it's a weird thing that I just noticed while watching the show. Especially, it was definitely in the episodes, like, starting 9 onward, which they recorded at home. I don't know if there was something in play with that one, but it's a weird thing I picked up on. But other than that, these two are polar opposites of each other in personality. Then they have probably one of the better dynamics in the whole show, honestly, because of the fact that they're total opposites, and I enjoy the performances of both of these characters very, very much.
Oh, let's go with this. I'm so bad at finding Stephanie Young characters. I am the fucking worst at it. I'm sorry, Stephanie.
She's the lady in Code Realize.
She is. She's the Queen of England in Code Realize.
That's the only thing I know her as.
Isn't she also KK in Blood Blockade Battlefront?
Yeah, she is. She's Ultimate Mom KK.
She's Best Mom KK.
Best Mom KK in Blood Blockade Battlefront.
Yes.
Like, trying to keep her kids together and fighting off supernatural shit.
Mm-hmm.
No, I genuinely liked a lot of her performance as Shizuku. I thought that she kind of had a warmth to her when Chiyuki wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
But she turned on the ice when Chiyuki was. I find it really funny that when Chiyuki talks about not being able to smile down the runway, it's when Shizuka tells her that she can't smile. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say on this because I know she's an important character, but something about her performance didn't tick anything off at me, and I was just like, this is nice. I like this. It didn't do a lot for me, but it also just, like, it was nice. That's all I could say.
Mm-hmm.
Colleen as you was a lot. She was this character who you very much wanted to hate, but once you kind of realized her backstory, you're like, fuck, I can't actually be mad at you.
Right.
I can't be mad at you for your story, but I can be mad that you're hurting Kokoro's dreams, because you're a bitter old bitch. I think that Colleen got that across really well. And the thing that I like is that, I don't want to say that this is Colleen's best performance as an antagonistic character all year, because we all know what the actual fucking answer to that is.
Yeah, just a bit.
Someone's on my list for end of the years for that show, and it's probably Colleen. Fuck Akito. I think that she has this sense of, you know what it is? She is that person who, you know, in every RPG where you have the young spunky adventurer who's like, yeah, I'm gonna live my dreams and achieve my goal. And there's just that one older adventurer sitting at the end of the bar taking a smoke and a drink going, yeah, good luck with that kid. She is, there's a level of jaded in her performance that gets carried throughout the entire thing, and there's so little chance for her to be just happy for someone. And even, like, and it's one of my favorite scenes in the show is the very last episode where she's like, yeah, just come back whenever you want, through a text message, and Shuki's like, what the fuck is this shit? Where's my apology?
I love that.
And Kokoro is just like, this is her own way of doing it. And you're like, Kokoro, no, she was an asshole to you. Stop being nice. Kokoro, do you ever just want to stop being nice? Don't you just want to go ape shit for 5 seconds? And that's the thing I love about Colleen's performance, and I think it's another genuinely one of my favorite ones in the show, is she evokes something in her performance that makes you not want to like her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is, like what Steph said, that's a talent. Colleen's a very talented actress for a reason. Shinya, please stop playing with paper.
Shinya,
parenting.
please lay on the pillow and be queen again.
I think that there is little moments of warmth in Colleen's performance, especially like when you know that she's got the suit on, and you kind of know that in her heart of hearts that she was maybe wrong to keep Kokoro pent up, but still. Okay, now she's got a sock.
A little bit quiet.
That's all I've got to say. Next up, we have not the main pair, but kind of the rivals for everybody in a sense. For Chiyuki, that is Kokoro Hatsugawa, a soft-spoken tall girl who doesn't want to be a model despite having everything going for as a model. She is kind, sweet, but she just wants to be a fashion designer, and damn it if anybody's ever going to tell her to stop. For Ikuto, that is To Ayano, the grandson of the famous Mai Ayano of Afro Idite. He is a third year at the Geika school, while Kokoro is a first year. To wants to get out of his grandmother's shadow and build his own brand, but he isn't going to do it unless he can do it a certain way. He is also a bit of an antagonistic asshole, but not in the way that Yu is. Playing To Ayano is Lee George, and playing Kokoro Hatsugawa is Danny Chambers. Lee George you will know as characters such as Mordred in Radiant, Jimmy Stonefree in Listeners, and Akiya Kirishima in Free Dive to the Future. Danny Chambers you'll know as such as characters as Bella in Bem, Mahoro Shimano in My Hero Academia Mahoro Shimano in My Hero Academia Heroes Rising, and Misa Konohata in Asteroid in Love. You know what? I'm actually gonna go first.
Do it.
Yeah.
I always go last in these, but I'm gonna go first. I'll start with Danny as Kokoro. This is the year that I think if last year finally got Danny breaking out of kind of dramatic, quieter girls, it was a godsend. Having her be this tall, sweetheart girl, Kokoro, who is insecure, but can turn it on to be the ultra model, but there's just this childish kind of wonder to her and this general nicety. And I love the fact that she and Ikuto are very much the same people. They're both just nice people who want to do their dreams because it's what makes them happy, but everybody else wants to shove them in a box. Because Kokoro is tall, and Kokoro has great proportions, that she is to be a model, but she doesn't want that. And I think that Danny plays Kokoro with such a warmth and charm that it's almost hard to not be endeared to her. Like, the second Kokoro comes on screen and talk, you're instantly like, I don't care whatever happens to Kokoro, if you make her cry, I will break your fucking kneecaps.
It's true facts, actually.
And the thing is that despite her cuteness and her voice, it's not the ultra cutesy moe voice, because it can't be. Kokoro's character design does not lend it to have a cutesy, super high-pitched voice. And that's the thing that I like about Danny's, is it's softer, but it also has very much kind of a big girl voice because of her body type, not because she's older. Mm-hmm. And that's something I don't think I've necessarily seen from Danny. I think this might be one of the oldest characters that I think Danny has ever played, in my opinions, because she is very much, like, she's gotta be, like, 18 or 19. And I've mostly seen Danny play, like, 15, like, I think Chisei and Mega Spread's, like, 15. Serval was, like, a literal eternal cat child. I think everything else, I don't know, I've not watched Bem, I'm sorry. Mahara was literally a tiny child. So, to hear Danny kind of play this older girl who is still soft and young, but not, like, uber uwu cutesy wootsy is a really nice take. And man, I did not know who To was the second he spoke, because let's be real, alright, so when Lee George was announced as Ikuya in Free, I think I watched like a couple episodes of Dive to the Future in the dub, because I'm not the biggest fan of the Free dub in general, and I wasn't necessarily sold with him as Ikuya at the time. So getting to hear him come back, because I haven't watched anything else with him really in it, and I did list Listeners, which was like one episode, and then COVID happened, so we never got the rest of that. This turned me around a lot on Lee George. He was fantastic. There was this, like, there was something ominous about him, and there was something off-putting, and it wasn't malice, but it also wasn't some guy, like, being ultra-friendly to just backhand and stab them the entire time. It was just, it was eccentric. To is an eccentric person with expectations of how he wants things. And he's going to get them done the way that he wants. And he is going to have people fit into the box that he wants them to. Like, there's a reason why he is what Yu is to Kokoro to Ikuto. He tells Ikuto that he doesn't have a place in the fashion world outside of being a pattern maker and to boosting To's status. And there's something about the way that he really flips between these, I'm being a nice person on the outside, but I'm gonna tell you how it is on the inside. And it's not because he's a mean person, it's because he has these preset notions of what he wants himself to be. And I think Lee really gets that eccentricity across without being super off-putting or super, like, creepy. Like, he is creepy at points, but it's not like...
Look here, our introduction to To has him hugging everybody and, like, spouting off measurements, alright?
They're measurements. Like, he's a very eccentric person.
Yes.
But he's not like, okay, he's not like gonna stab you in a back alley and take your eyeballs.
That's a different extreme right there.
Like, I don't know why, but for some reason when Gigi said that she liked Hibika, I was like, oh, so he's like Hisoka.
I don't even need to talk now because you just said my notes.
Fuck. So that's the other thing is, like, I'll save it more for final thoughts, but yeah. But you know what? Since I took the words right out of your mouth, Gigi keep talking out of my mouth like like a creepy, like, horror thing where, like, my jaw unhinges and Gigi just pops out of my body.
Shit.
I'm about to Junji Ito you.
Yeah, with some Gigi Ito.
Gigi Ito? Ooh, I should make that my Halloween display
Do
name.
it. Do it, bitch.
Do it.
Oh god, To is my boy. obviously, for obvious reasons. Toe is my man of the show. So just like Megan said, like, even his character design kind of reminds me of Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter 2011. Let's not confuse it with the subpar Hunter x Hunter that is 99, where Hisoka has blue hair. No.
Oh,
we're talking 2011.
You are going to
That
attract internet weirdos with that take.
That was a hot take.
And
It's not
Gigi
a wrong
rip.
take either.
I don't like blue-haired Hisoka. I just don't. It's red hair or nothing. Anyway,
Okay,
speaking...
you know that All Might meme where it's like, don't go for this, only villains go for this. It's the blue hair Hisokas and that one of the red hair Hisokas and the only heroes do this one.
Anyway,
We need the visual reference, Jackson. We know you can. You
So
have the
apparently-
technology.
Jackson, I'm sorry. Apparently, you got magically volunteered for this episode now.
He can. I'll send him a bag of ketchup chips. It'll be fine.
Oh gosh. Well, anyway, so like Hisoka is a murderous, crazy person, and Toe, while not murderous, he is kind of crazy, but he's like eccentric crazy, like Megan said. He also really kind of reminds me of Lighto from Diabolic Lovers.
Yep, a little.
Wrap your head around
I
that
see it
one.
a little bit.
Is he gonna call Iguto his little bitch?
I really hope so. Season 2. That would be great. 10 out of 10. So I feel that Toe, he's equal parts professional, but also equal parts kind of desperate. And when Lee was talking, I could hear it, especially in the parts where he's judging and then turning around and trying to turn the tables on Ikuto, where he's like, oh my gosh, Ikuto, you're so great. You could totally do this, that, and that. If you're a pattern maker for me, like, he's kind of desperate to not have Ikuto as competition, but at the same time, he wants to work with him in a different way. So you can see kind of where it comes from. He's very sharp-tongued. I felt that not only the dialogue, but the performance. And Lee had to make Toe be savage while being like heartwarming at the same time, which is really hard to do. I think he did a really great job at it. I think it worked really well. Honestly, I've never heard anything that Lee George has been in consciously. So I can't compare it to anything else. But Toe is my boy. Like, he's like your friend who, when you come up and hug them, and this is exactly what he did in the anime, was like, oh my gosh, girl, I haven't seen you in so long. And oh my gosh, oh, look at you. You would look so much better if you just parted your hair a different way. And you're like not offended by that because you know that he's right and he's only looking out for the best for you. But at the same time, you're like, did he just insult me to my face? Like, and that's the kind of tone that Lee George had to pull off a lot here. And I think he did a really good job. I also, to go along with what I said earlier about John Bergmeyer, I'm happy that this character didn't fall into a stereotype that could have been, it could have made people uncomfortable.
Oh, for anybody who's wondering what it is, if you've ever seen Kids on the Slope, it's Blake Shepard's character.
You have to
And
remind
yeah, in dubs by
If you've
that
never seen the dubs of
certain
Kids
director.
If you've never seen, I'm gonna do the voice just to do. It's like, hey guys, like that type of voice.
Yeah, it is
Oh,
a
he
very
did that?
common thing
Yeah,
in
it's-
Sentai dubs by the director of Kids on the Slope.
Slope. Yeah, he does. It's really bad. Like that dub is also just genuinely a very bad dub, but that's because of the director, not the actors, because there's a bunch of really talented people in it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that didn't happen. And I say this with all my love because as a girl who has like 75% gay male friends, like, and not saying that any of these characters are gay, I don't know what their sexuality is, so don't come at me. But I'm just saying, like, as that stereotype exists, not every gay male sounds like that.
Yeah.
So I like that it didn't conform to there where it could have easily done so. And like I said, I don't know anything about Toe other than I really love this character, and that's all that really should matter because he gets the Gigi stamp of approval.
So can I
Wah, wah.
ask this question? You welcomed Nazi to Dub Talk earlier. Are we welcoming Lee George to Dub Talk as well now?
Oh yeah, Lee George, welcome to Dub Talk.
Yes. Thought so.
I feel like
I
we
have
may
to
have
watch
more to say about him later.
I know, right, Roots?
I have to watch Free Season 3 because in my other show we just watched Free Season 1, and I've never talked about the dub to Free Season 1, so it kind of got like some hot takes. So
I mean, not wrong.
Trust me, no matter what you do, you will never be as mad at it as I am, where I literally broke into tears about how much I fucking hate it.
Yeah. We don't talk about
I don't
season
hate
1.
it. It's just one performance that really is not what I want. And it's Haru. Anyways.
We can talk about that after this.
Yes, we don't need to talk about this now. Oof. Actually, I'm going to talk about it a little when we get to Ikuto, but we'll hold on that. Kokoro, in a perfect world, I would not like this character. I would not like her. She's not like my type of girl that I normally like in an anime. She's the one that I'm like, oh God, why is this why is everybody like coming to her and whatever? Because if they're too precious and they're not like a toddler, I'm just like, do you have the right to be this cute without having an edge? However, when like Megan said, when Kokoro opened her mouth, I was like, oh, we have to protect her at all costs. Like, Kokoro Protection Squad, where's my hat, my t-shirt, and my official rifle? Like, get the fuck away.
Shit.
Like, I was just like, Danny brought humanity to this character who normally, and I did listen to the Japanese dub a little bit, did not feel as much affection towards Kokoro as I did in the English dub, because Danny brings this level of humanity to her that you wouldn't hear like normally. It's just very like, it's not weird, it's just talent. So I really liked that about it. And yeah, who's got my t-shirt and my hat?
Kokoro
Means
Squad.
heart
We'll get
in
one printed for ya.
Japanese. Can we have hearts on it? Because Kokoro means heart in Japanese.
Yes.
Kokoro Protection
Great.
Squad.
Maybe like a spotlight shining on the heart, because it's the runway and there's spotlights. Kokoro Protection Squad.
Oh my god. Tell Hardy about that design. He'll draw that shit up real fast.
I just made merch. Hooray. I'm done.
Steph, I need you to now come out of Gigi's unhinged jaw like a June Gigi creature.
Hello. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm gonna start with Danny on this one. Danny is too pure and good for this world.
Remember, kids, it's not always nightmare fuel. It might be someone's.
God damn it.
Good.
Sorry, Steph,
Good night,
go ahead.
everybody. No, I'm gonna start with Danny. She is too precious, too good, too pure for this earth. Bottom line, Kokoro Protection Squad. Let's go. But I think it's because, like, I agree with Gigi. She has this wonderful amount of humanity to the role. Because Kokoro is so cheery and just so precious and very charming that you can't help but like want to be friends with this girl 100%. But you also are fully aware from the get-go that she does have these insecurities about herself, because she's being told that she can't be a designer. Her only talent is being a model, because in the modeling world, she is the perfect figure and the perfect height. She has a model's 100% perfect body in order to succeed in this industry. So even though Danny gives that humanity and gives that cheery, wonderful, charming personality that Kokoro has, I also really love when Danny has to portray those insecurities and that level of anxiety that she has to go through over the course of the show. Doubting herself and her lack of self-confidence. I really enjoy those deeper moments too, because it just gives more complexity to Kokoro as a character, and it draws more of that humanity that she has in the performance out of it. And I love Love, love, love it so much. Precious cinnamon roll. Too good and pure for this earth. I think, unlike everybody else, I don't know Roots' background outside of Radiant, because Radiant's a thing. I did watch all of Free Dive to the Future. And I'm gonna be straight up real with you. Between Lee George and Chris Lewin Ramirez, I was, as the two new characters, Lee George was my least favorite, not just between the two, but I think in the entire show that season. It was just very stiff. It could be robotic at times. I wasn't a huge fan of it. So, going into Toe, this is leaps and bounds so much better than when he was Ikuya. 100%. And what's funny is the tone that Lee George uses as Toe is basically the exact same tone as he uses for Ikuta. Toe is Ikuta, but Toe has more of a personality, as probably the most blunt way I can put this. And I don't mean to be harsh, but that's the best way I can describe this. So, every second Toe is on screen, you are absolutely enthralled and intrigued by this character. Because Toe can be a bit of a narcissist. Toe is very blunt. He knows what he wants. He knows what he's after. He's going to do it his way. And he's very, very brutal. He pushes... I said this to Andrew when we were watching the show together, and he was just like, what the fuck, Toe? And I'm like, the only reason why Toe is doing this to Ikuto is because he sees him as a rival and he's pushing him. To be fair, he also does not want him to get on his level and wants to take him out of the business entirely. So to some extent, he does want to discourage Ikuto, but I also think he wants to push him more because he knows the raw talent that Ikuto does possess. And I really love those moments where he does that, where he's completely brutal, but it's for Ikuto's sake as well, and it's very intriguing performance. Between this, and I know Roots is going to mention this too, another show's dub that just started yesterday. But between this and that show that he has a role in, I'm very excited to see where it goes from here, because I watched that first episode last night, and I'm like, oh damn, this is great. I already love this character he is. Like 100%. So Yukiya from Free Dive to the Future walked so that this bitch Toe Ayano could run. Like 100%. Lee George, I think, is, after the rough start that I've seen from a couple years ago, he's well on my radar for sure with this and with the new show he's doing. But I really love his performance as Toe, 100%.
All right, Roots, time for you to Junji Ito out of stuff.
Yeah, I just pop out of Steph's mouth with the Carol Danning. I'm Spartacus.
Fuck. I'm Spartacus.
Why does our Junji Ito master sound like Ryan Stiles doing Carol Channing impression?
Shit.
I love you, babe.
It would either be that or start the reactor, Quaid. Start the reactor.
God. No, that's when you're Junji Ito out of Amon.
Shit. True facts.
I love you, Jared. We love you, Jared.
Love you. True facts.
Okay. So first and foremost, Danny Chambers. Yeah, I largely have to agree with everyone here. I didn't expect to like her character as much as I did. When you're first introduced to her, I was kind of annoyed. Mainly because, you know, the start of the arc where she's a model, but also trying to be a designer, and she's being stymied from one of those paths. And, you know, I can relate to the sort of anxiety fit she gets over that because, you know, I am prone to those kind of fits of anxiety just in general. But I'm trying to figure out the point where her character endeared to me. I think it's basically the point where Yu is more or less kidnapping her from the from John Bergmeyer's shop, if I'm remembering that right, or from the academy.
Oh, that's episode 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
where we're introduced to her, introduced to Igarashi.
Yeah. Like, that was the point where I started to realize, oh, like, this is gonna be a whole arc thing. Sit down with the bowl of popcorn. This is gonna get interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But in all seriousness, Danny Chambers' Kokoro is a precious being who must be protected at all costs. Protect that smile.
Kokoro Protection Squad, unite! Sorry, I had to do that.
In particular, the end of the series when she finally gets the bet with you that if she manages to win the festival, she can continue studying to become a designer. Which, you know, personally, I know there's probably, like, you know, etiquette reasons why you couldn't in the fashion world, but I don't get why she couldn't just do both. I'm sure it's a little bit of, you know, dividing your time between these two professions that whose experience and, you know, skill sets don't mesh. But I really hope to see more of that dynamic in a potential second season, or if that doesn't happen, you know, continuing to read on in the form of the manga. So, about Lee George and Toe. I really like the fact that he is sort of, like, you know, everybody has been saying so far, with an eccentricity. It's not, like, this menacing aura of intimidation or menace. Like, he is just hell-bent on doing the things he wants to do his own way. He is trying to build up Ikuto in his own way. He wants to mold and shape Ikuto into the shape he wants him to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that is important to the story of the Geika Fashion Festival. Is that when he is basically trying to pressure Ikuto into becoming his pattern maker, like, he's kind of trying to take him out as competition while at the same time building him into the image that he wants Ikuto to take. I did think that was a bit messed up, but, you know, hey. You wouldn't have a story arc with a character like this if you didn't. But Lee George as Toe. God, this was so good. So good. He drips with charisma, which is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you hear him talking to Ikuto about, you know, becoming his pattern maker, or his critique of Ikuto's first festival challenge. And you kind of want to take his side, even though, you know, Ikuto is the protagonist, and by the nature of the sort of shonen battle-esque plotline, you are conditioned to take Ikuto's side. You're kind of hearing out Toe. And, you know, Lee George as Toe. Now, personally, since this is the first time I am actually hearing Lee George in a major role in a dub, as far as I know. I typically don't watch too much anime outside of what I end up covering for Dub Talk. God, this guy's range is just magnificent. Just between this and the other show. Like, he is playing a wide, dynamic range of characters, and I love it to death. So, both of these I really enjoyed, but let's move on to our last segment.
Let us do that. Let's talk about the I can't say the word. Duo protagonist. It has an actual name. Megan's just dumb and has brain worms. They are Chiyuki Fujito and Ikuto Sumera. Chiyuki Fujito is the first character that we're introduced to. She is the daughter of the owner of Mille Neige. She's short, but she doesn't let that stop her from being what she calls a hypermodel, which is a model who walks for her father's brand. She won't let anyone stop her. She is a little prickly, a lot of pokey, but deep down she wants what's best for herself and for other people to stop getting in her way. And she won't let anybody do that. Ikuto is a sweet cinnamon bun too pure for this world. Who deserves all of the good things in the life. Squad. He is a poor young kid who wants to be a fashion designer, who makes a lot of his stuff out of reused clothes, who just wants to follow his dream because he likes doing it, but he's got to come to the harsh reality that being in an industry where I just want to do it because it makes me happy is not gonna fly, and people are gonna try to cut you down. Playing Chiyuki Fujito is Macy Ann Johnson, and playing Ikuto Sumera is Derek Snow. Macy Ann Johnson, you'll know as characters such as Scarlet Gosling in No Guns Life, Akashi and Azure Lane in Hardcore Alice and Magical Girl Raising Project. To which, for some reason, Hardcore Alice isn't on A&N's page for her, which, go fix that, please. JRR, if you're out there. I know you do a lot of this for us, and without you, we wouldn't have half the episodes done in any shape or form. So please say thank you to JRR Pictures on Twitter at any chance you get, because he is literally the person who puts a lot of cast lists up. Essentially, if you've ever seen a cast list for a Netflix show come out at the god-awful hours of the night, it's because of him, and he lives in Australia.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you.
He is one of the nicest, sweetest people you'll ever get to talk to. Play Derek Snow, you'll know as characters such as Shinra Kusakabe in Fire Force, Itsuki Amino in Stars Line, and of course Yagen Toshiro in Tokenranbu Hanamaru, because I will never not let people not remember that. And just because Gigi's here, yes, he's the fucking dog in Dance with Devils.
I was gonna mention that, but I'm glad that you did it for me.
Pomeranian Choir. It lives.
Pomeranian Choir.
Literally, thank you, Shannon, who I used to work with on another podcast, who one time made a Dance with Devils review where they put Dog of Wisdom to the fucking Pomeranians, and I wish I had that clip. We will now do this entire segment in the Dog of Wisdom voices. Shit. If you would like to translate.
Put subtitles on the bottom of the screen on the YouTube video.
Ha! Ba-da-ba-ba-da! Ha! No, sorry. Now I sound like a Pokemon having an aneurysm.
All right, well, let's talk about Ikuto first. My little Pomeranian choir, Mr. Derek Snow. Oh, how far he has come from the little Pomeranian choir. Unfortunately, because I don't remember much of Tokenranbu Hanamaru, the only thing I can really remember him from is the fact that he was in Dance with Devils and played the Pomeranian choir. And I know he's done more since then. Don't come at me. But this is what I know him for, so this is what I'm talking about.
Gigi doesn't watch as much stuff that Derek Snow has done sometimes. And that's okay. And that's okay.
I watch what I want, which right now is Mobile Suit Gundam 008. It's weird. Anyways. Derek's performance as Ikuto, what a soft good boy. Literally, guys, I know I panned him in Dance with Devils. What a fucking way he's come. He has come quite a way because he had to carry this show. He had to carry this show on Ikuto's frail little shoulders, and he did it. He did a great job. At first, I thought the show was about Chiyuki, and I was like, I'm gonna love this because of what we'll talk about in a second. But then Ikuto became the main character because Chiyuki kind of got written out of a bunch of episodes, and we focused entirely on Ikuto, which means that Derek Snow had to carry the show, and he did. And I was rightfully surprised because, like I said, the only thing I can remember him from is Dance with Devils, which, bravo, sir, you are doing a good job. He literally transformed from the beginning of the anime to the end. Yes, he didn't get his full butterfly metamorphosis, because if we've seen the end of the show, we know it doesn't end in the way that your heart would want it to end, but it ended in the way that, oh, this is probably correct. And you feel like something's not right here, something has to go on, there has to be more to this. But you could also feel through his performance that it's not the end, and Ikuto's not gonna give up. Derek plays him with such determination, and there are these soft nuances in his voice, because I didn't know who this was when it started, and I was very, very confused because of these nuances in his voice that make him sound like Todd Haberkorn or Vic Mignogna, because as we all know, Todd Haberkorn is the poor man's Vic Mignogna. And I was like, this is a thing. I didn't know. I was very confused. But if you listen really closely, you'll hear them. There's a little raspiness in all three of their voices that comes out at certain times, and you can hear it if you pay attention to it, like I do. It is what it is. It's not a bad thing. It's just the way that the voice sounds. So y'all can like it or hate it, whatever you want to do with it. I thought this performance was tremendous. I really felt it a lot in my bones. And then Chiyuki, my best girl other than you, because you is badass bitch. Chiyuki and Macy Ann Johnson's performance reminded me a lot of Yuzu from Citrus and Megan Shipman, who played her. And I fucking love Yuzu. So when Chiyuki opened her mouth, I was like, oh my god. I was like, is that Megan Shipman? I was like, no, it's not. It's different. But I loved it just the same, because this is my anime girl that I want to root for. She's very sassy, but she's also lovable. You have to love her, because the whole point of the show is that she can do her job if you love her, not because of how tall she is. So she came off both sassy and lovable. But I could see how this could possibly be polarizing in both for the character and for the performance, because if you don't like those sassy anime girls, you're probably not going to like this, and you'll be like, why is Chiyuki such a bitch? Well, she's not a bitch. She's just very determined. And in Macy Ann Johnson's performance, you can feel the determination in it, which is a different kind of determination than what Ikuto has, because Ikuto is such a soft character, and he comes with a softer voice, and Chiyuki's up in your face. I am going to be a hypermodel. Tyra Banks, watch out. Put me on your show, because I will make it to the top, and I will win the goddamn thing and get that cover girl contract.
I will be the next cover girl, bitch. Let's go.
I will smize your eyes off. It'll be fine. I loved this so much. And I believe I talked about her when I did the Magical Girl Raising Project episode. And she had a completely different voice, because I don't remember her sounding like this. If she did, I apologize. That episode was a long time ago. But I loved this. I loved it. So I'm very happy that the show is carried by two protagonists who were so completely different, but who both pulled off kind of the same acting, except Ikuto is not nearly as sassy as Chiyuki, but that's fine. Derek Snow has redeemed himself from the dog, and I'm a happy girl.
I guess I'll just go next. I feel like going next. So, unlike Gigi, I watch a lot of stuff with Derek Snow in
I
it.
know you do.
I was about to say, like, I think Derek Snow redeemed himself from Pomeranian Choir a long time ago, but this is also Gigi, who hasn't watched a lot.
In Megan's mind, Megan has always been like the undercover, like, Derek Snow is actually really good. You guys are just mean.
You 100%.
Like, you all are just, I was like, y'all fucking wait, this man's gonna get his break on, like, a giant shonen show, and then Fire Force happened, and I'm like, yeah! That wasn't even his best performance last year, because that's Itsuki and Stars Align. To which, God, that show's like a year old, and I'm still pissed about how fucked that show got. It's such a beautiful show. But Derek had, like Gigi said, had to carry a lot of the emotional parts of this show on his back. If, like, Chiyuki is the body of the show, but Ikuto is the heart, a lot of the emotional parts of this show are because I think the drama around him is so strong. You inherently want to root for Ikuto. You want to root for Ikuto because he is so endearing as a person. He is the shonen protagonist he's the Deku. He's the Deku.
Yeah, but I don't like Deku.
I know you like Bakugo and Todoroki.
It's the best comparison we can draw right now.
It's the way that I can draw this comparison to people who have never watched a shoujo show and can only think about
Ikuto is not a Shinra.
I understand your deep point.
Ikuto is not Shinra. So
yes, because Ikuto is like Ikuto's weird. Shinra's weirder, and the only thing I can think about last night is the clip that they posted on Funimation's YouTube. And the entire time, the only thing I can think about is that Zeno. Oh
my god, Andrew and I watched the episode for that last night. He hadn't seen that clip. He watched it in real time, and he laughed his ass off. And I'm just like, yup.
Have you ever just started tripping balls in the back of a truck with a nun, and a mole,
and just do like the finger guns with actual fire coming out of the finger guns?
I'm just gonna say that Fire Force episode is just Dune with the talking mole. Let the spice flow. And Derek let the spice flow in this. But in the way that, like, I think the reason, like, Gigi brought up about Kokoro is Derek's performance really makes you want Ikuto to win. And that's saying a lot for me, because Ikuto is played by Natsuki Hayane. Yay. And I love him. Derek's performance makes you genuinely want to root for Ikuto. And I got mad when Kokoro wins the entire thing over him. And you want him to win because you're endeared to him through Derek's performance. It is very subtle. It is very nuanced. It's very high quality, and a lot of people, I feel like, who know Derek only from Fire Force don't know that Derek is actually really good at that type of performance, where it is a lot more subtle. Because here's the thing about Fire Force. Fire Force, there is no time to be subtle in Fire Force. At least not from Shinra's character. Shinra is not the character that he does have to deal with a lot of stuff, but he's also a shonen protagonist, which means that he doesn't always get a lot of, like, ultra nuanced stuff, but that's because I also don't think Fire Force can be a nuanced series when it wants to, but it's not always done through Shinra, it's done through a lot of the side characters. And when it's not busy, humiliating Tamaki, which has, thankfully, I've heard happened less in season 2.
Yeah, I think I've only seen it happen, I think, twice since season 2 started, and I'm only following the dub right now.
That's
like
another
7 episodes in.
That's another story. But Derek has to walk this really fine line where I think if he goes a little too over the top, it completely ruins the immersion for you as a watcher. And for me, Derek has done that in other shows. Like, I bring up Stars Align as a big example because Itsuki's character is very complex, and I like to bring up Yagen from Token Rambu a lot because that's a performance that in his, like, big episode in the show, it has genuinely moved me to tears. And another show that we haven't brought up that he's in, he is Natsume in Ensemble Stars, and I've sadly only watched the first 13 episodes of the dub of that, and that is a dub that when we get to finally doing the episode on it, is really mixed in a lot of places, but I'm not gonna kid you that there is a part in one of the flashbacks of the first half of that show, and it's a scene between him and Justin Briner that fucking broke me in half. Derek is really good at acting. You know who's also really fucking good at acting? Macy Ann Johnson.
Yay.
I was talking about this with some of the guys on our anime dubs, and I'm sorry that this is taking so long. If you did not know who Macy Ann Johnson was, because you haven't watched a lot of the stuff that she's in, and to be fair, she is not in a lot of stuff that I would say appeals to a ton of people. Also, Human Lost was a movie, and Human Lost was a movie. Magical Girl Raising Project, I think, jumped from site to site. No Gun's Life is kind of, I think, like the big one that is still with Funimation that gets a lot of hype from Funimation themselves to keep watching, is that things that everyone knows. If Macy Ann Johnson wasn't on your list as a really good voice actress to keep your eyes on, then this show will make you pay fucking attention to her. Her Shiyuki performance is genuinely one of the best anime dub performances of this year. It is very high up there to me with another performance that somebody did over at Sentai. There is not a lick of bad that I can say about it. She absolutely commands the screen when she is on it. Her performance is powerful. You want to pay attention to it. It can hit all the funny beats when it needs to. It is like Chiyuki herself. You will not look away from it. Anytime that she is on screen, she is stealing attention, and you will absolutely want to root for Chiyuki, and you feel her pain, and you want to support her, even though you know she is going to drive Iketo into the ground because she has to go against him, and that she is being a massive bitch for a good reason to get Kokoro to pull her head out of her ass. She is absolutely insane, and I feel really bad that I have not watched a lot more stuff that Macy Ann Johnson is in, because she is fantastic, and I hope that she gets more leads after this.
Yay.
I was like, I'm looking at my recording time, and I'm just like, Jesus, I did not intend for this to be this long.
We never
There were like
do.
17 characters, man. There's a lot.
Every time Megan does an episode, do not expect it to be quick. I
never
talk
have.
a lot.
I'm gonna start with Macy Ann Johnson, actually, and Chiyuki, because Chiyuki, oh sweet, sweet lord, she has this spunk, this energy to her, and just so much determination. Excuse me. She's also fucking brutal sometimes, and it's the best, especially when it comes to the comedic moments in the show. Because before we started recording this, or it was either right before or when we started, this show also, Megan dubbed this show as having some of the best anime faces of all time.
They do. The fucking where she's in front of the fire is my favorite one.
No, but she's just Chiyuki is just so much fun. Just because she has that charm and determination and this no nonsense attitude where it's like, it's my way or the highway. I'm gonna do what I fucking please. I'm gonna do this. This is what I want. People are going to pay attention to me. But she also understands that it's not an easy road for her. She's not jaded or wearing like rose-colored glasses. Because even though her dad runs this big agency, she's fully aware of her own weaknesses, obviously the big one being her height. She's very self-aware, but that's not going to deter her. She has her setbacks, but she is just going to push past everyone's expectations and just fight for what she wants her life and her happiness to be. And her dynamic with Iketo, her dynamic with Derek as Iketo is so much fun, because you have the very brash, blunt, just like no nonsense Chiyuki, and then you have the kind of shy, kind of quiet, but also just the sweetest, purest boy Iketo in the world, and their dynamic is so much fun. And I really love how that relationship changes in the second half of the show when Chiyuki comes back from Paris and she's facing all of this failure. And then Ikuto is the first person she ends up seeing because he just happens to be there at Milneige. And he manages to just quickly like cheer her up and get her out of her head. Like, it's this weird magic that Ikuto has, or effect that he has on Chiyuki that's just so wonderful. And I really like how Macy Ann Johnson has like portrays all of this. This is probably the first time I'm actually talking about Macy Ann Johnson on this show too, actually. So I'm very, very excited, and I really loved her portrayal of Chiyuki with all of the eccentricities and the charm and the just absolute energy that she has, and I just love it so much. I did not think of the comparison to, what the fuck was it? Isuzu from Citrus. And now that Gigi has said it, I can't think of anything else. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's very similar. Very, very much similar, but Chiyuki is just very no-nonsense. It's like, no, this is what's happening. Fuck you, fight me. And I love Macy Ann Johnson's portrayal of this. Oh... I love Derek Snow. There's no way around this. I love Derek Snow. I remember when we first talked about Derek Snow with Dance with Devils. My, how things have changed. I remember talking about him in Stars Align. He was wonderful. God, Derek Snow is such a fantastic actor, and he's grown on me so much over the years. I know I've said this before. He's grown on me so much, and I just want all of the good things for Derek because he's fantastic. And as Ikuto, I have to agree with all of the points that everybody has said so far, because Smile Down the Runway does the bait and switch main character thing similar to what it kind of does in Dr. Stone, where you think it's Taiju at the beginning who's the main character, but it switches and it's actually Senku, right? And
Yeah.
And Smile does something similar, where you think it's Chiyuki in the beginning, in which it is Chiyuki's story as well, but they also flip it for the majority of the show, and it's actually Ikuto has to carry the show, meaning Derek has to carry the show throughout the majority of the series. And he does a phenomenal job. And I like the comparison I think Megan made, where one of you made that Chiyuki is the body of it, but that was you.
That was me.
Chiyuki is the body of it, but Ikuto is the heart. And Ikuto has so much gentle kindness to him, and is just very passionate and very selfless. Because again, we've brought this up a few times. He wants to do things for his family. And originally it was just like, why should I follow my dreams? I need to take care of my family. I'm the one who has to do that. So he's very selfless in that regard. And he kind of has to be pushed into, like we were saying about Hanukkah earlier, he also has to be pushed into the adult realm very, very quickly, because mom is in the hospital. But oh god, there's not much more I can really add to Derek Snow as Ikuto. I love him. I'm debating on claiming Ikuto as my son.
Oh my god.
Because I have
This bitch got a lot of sons.
I have too many children.
Steph is an orphanage.
I have too.
Number 10.
Andrew.
Number 10.
Oh, there he is. There he is. There's the bitch.
Excuse me. I didn't hear that horrible little whining thing in the background. Whatever could that be?
He can't hear
Could it
you,
be-
obviously, but
Oh, shit.
Could it be the hashtag Andrew is over party?
I believe that is the sound
can't
of
believe
someone
you
who
let-
is cancelled.
Cancel.
he has no context. He's
I can't
just sitting
believe
here
Steph.
staring at me.
I can't believe Steph let Andre into the house.
Ugh. It's not cool like Corey in the house either, aka the best anime of all time.
I'm gonna make a special request. Can this now be the fucking clip for the Patreons? Please. This would be great. He's
Yes.
just standing here looking at me, not knowing the context and not understanding. And I'm gonna leave him in the dark right now and just let him be very confused. You go back to work.
That's where he
Okay, I just
belongs
wanted
to
to
be.
chime
He's
in,
in the
chime in,
dungeon.
chime in.
He's not even in the
Love
fun
you.
part of the dungeon where we let him watch Tigtone.
No, but I started this thing because I realized this year I have so many anime children, and I'm like, I posted a thing on Twitter. I'm like, should I do a blog of some sort about my anime children? And everybody overwhelmingly was like, yes, do it, bitch. And I'm like, I have 9 kids. I hate odd numbers.
I'm gonna make
I'm like, do I want to claim him as my child? Bottom line, Ikuto is precious. He has so much heart to him and so much passion to him, and Derek portrays that very, very well. He also carries the show very, very well, especially coming off of freaking Shinra here. It's a very different lead character for him. It makes me happy. Ikuto's my favorite character. He's my favorite performance. Ikuto, I think it's officially is my son now. This is my child. I will protect him with my fucking life. There we go. I'm done.
All right, Patrick, round us out here.
Okay. I think I'll start with Macy and Johnson, which I think I'm joining Gigi in the camp of I've actually talked about her on this show before.
Yeah.
Because I was on the No Guns Life episode. I
Yep.
want to say we covered her.
Okay. I wasn't
I don't know.
either.
I
wasn't
don't
on
know.
the
I don't
episode.
even know what that is.
The only thing I know about the No Guns Life episode is that Noah is forbidden from ever doing a Boston accent.
Yes, he is.
The only other thing I know about No Guns Life is that Chris Ryan is fucking amazing as, like, detective noir horseshit. It's great.
Anyway, I like Macy Ann Johnson in this. Like, a lot. She gave a lot of the necessary spunk, But one thing I really liked about it is, sort of those comedic moments where she goes deep to, like, utter out a line. I thought those were absolutely hilarious. Like the going down low kind of thing.
The little agitated.
Right. I thought those were absolutely hilarious. But she also got the dramatic parts down pat. Shuki is a complicated character. And that complication, it's not always apparent. So I'm glad she was able to bring that out. Because on the surface, Chiyoki seems like a very simple character. She's trying to be a model, but she's too short. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of depth and nuance to what they do with her over the course of the episodes where she's in before it becomes Ikuto's story arc. But I thought that was really good. I unfortunately don't have a lot to say about it because she does her stuff and then it's Ikuto's turn. Which, Derek Snow as Ikuto, my god. He gives Ikuto this gentleness that, you know, considering that this is basically a shonen manga in a shonen magazine, that plays up a few shoujo tropes every now and again. I think it's refreshing to have a shonen protagonist who is basically soft, subdued, gentle. He is the wide-eyed dreamer. Mm-hmm. So is Chiyuki in a way. Except unlike Chiyuki, who has had the ability to have years of experience honed into her, he is basically starting from scratch. Making his first connections and all that. I like how Derek Snow played him with a bit of a naivete about what he would have to do to become a professional designer. I think that is the strongest aspect of his performance. And a standout moment for me is in the final episode when he loses. Mm-hmm. He doesn't just lose. He is not even in the top 10. And it crushes him. But then you get, what's her name? Lucy Christian.
Shoko.
Shoko in the background, basically commenting that, oh yeah, Toe and Ikuto were the only two participants in the festival who actually got offers for their designs.
Yep.
So, like, he actually did a lot better than he thinks he did. And it helps you to endear to him a little. But yeah, I really like both of these. The episode's dragging on a little long, so I'll go ahead and wrap this up so we can move on to final thoughts.
So, final thoughts, starting off with Steph.
Go fucking watch Smile Down the Runway, you filthy heathens. Why the fuck have you not started watching it yet? What the fuck is wrong with you? That's the TLDR version. So, Smile Down the Runway, as a show in general, is very charming, can be very heartfelt, and has a lot of fun elements to it. The dub itself is definitely one of the stronger dubs I have watched this year. And I've been watching, like, things like Golden Wind, Demon Slayer, fucking Fire Force Again, No Guns Life, a bunch of other things that are rather strong. But I think this one's definitely like an underdog sleeper hit kind of dub, and just everything about it just is wonderful. It has fantastic casting, utilizing the main four characters in this show are either very underutilized actors, or they're still kind of up-and-comers at the same time, which is fantastic. And risks like that sometimes will either pay off in spades or will just drag the show down, and it 100% paid off here. Direction is fantastic and very solid, keeping the subtleties and the nuances of the show itself, which is great. The writing has so much fun to it, with small little jokes and things like that. But yeah, I absolutely love this show. It is definitely one of the stronger and better dubs I have seen this year. 100%. Granted, this is no surprise considering who the damn director is. And we all know how much of a fan of his work I am. But that's not just to say it's just him. It's the whole thing in general is just a fantastic, well thought out, well put together dub. And yeah, if you haven't watched Smile Down the Runway yet, please do. It is fantastic. You should go watch it. I'm done.
All right, Gigi?
So I'm going to say this, and then you can be at it what you will. Smile Down the Runway has officially made its way into my top 10 anime of all time.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
And that's like including the dub, including the anime. It joined such illustrious titles as Nana, Madoka Magica, Hunter x Hunter 2011, and others. This show left me wanting more, and I love things that put me on an emotional train wreck. Mm-hmm. And considering the fact that I couldn't stop crying through the last 4 or 5 episodes, I was like, oh, this is the winner. Plus, it takes in things that I love, like fashion, travel. The clothes that were presented actually looked like clothes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes when you're watching a music anime and you see them playing the piano and they like pretend to play the piano, but they're not really playing the piano. Like, these clothes actually looked like things that people would design.
It gives it more realism, basically.
Yeah, some of them were good, some of them were bad. The way that they put the patterns on some of the things was kind of jarring visually, but all that aside, the dub here is really good. I don't know if it's my favorite dub of the year or not, because I haven't watched a lot of dubs this year. And that's just because there haven't been very many that I've been interested in. But it is very good. It's very solid, other than a few things that I think if the need wanted them, they could be fixed before home video release. And if not, that is a conscious choice, and that's fine. But I really enjoyed this anime. If you like shoujo anime without romance in it, this is basically like the epitome of shoujo trash minus romance, except it has kind of like a tournament arc in there, which is why it was in a shonen magazine. I don't know. I just really loved it. I've heard a lot of conversations lately about hidden gems. A lot of people have done videos on them or blog posts or what have you. I definitely consider Smile Down the Runway a hidden gem because I don't know anybody else who watched it except for us. So I highly implore you. Obviously, I hope you would have watched this before we just spoiled the whole fucking thing for you. But maybe watch it again and kind of consider all of the different layers and nuances that not only the dub has, but the show as a whole has. And the more you watch it, hey, maybe that's more of incentive that Japan has to make a second season of it, because we want one, and that would be amazing. I would also like to read the manga, but that's not happening yet because it's not.
It's available It's available digitally, not.
I don't have anything to read digital manga on, so yeah.
There's
Please, it's a gem of a show, and like I said, one of my top 10 of all time.
Roots, because I don't think you've gone.
Okay. Just to make this quick, the dub is actually probably one of the most impeccable ones I've heard this year. It is very well put together. Minor technical hiccups due to, equipment kind of malfunctioning aside, because that can be corrected later when the home video release comes. I thought this was really well put together. The cast is incredible. The show itself is actually really fun. Honestly, my basis of comparison to this dub is basically Paradise Kiss, which is one of my favorite dubs of all time. Which is kind of an unfair pedestal to put it on, because it's not quite up to that level, but this is still very fun. It is actually very fair towards its characters. Despite, our main protagonist losing at the end, he ends up coming out a winner anyway, so there's that. But yeah, the show is great. Probably one of my sleeper hits of the year. And the dub is really good too. I'm still kind of tabulating what I want to do with my dubbies this year because, all this. But overall, I really like this as a complete package. Could not recommend it higher. So yeah, thumbs up. Check this out. And for the love of God, Aniplex, please, since I can use this to, since this anime is fashion-based and I can use this as a platform, Aniplex, please, for the love of God, give somebody Paradise Kiss to stream. Because I want to do an episode so fucking bad.
Yes.
Oh, God damn it. I'm real glad I got these DVDs right here.
Jelly.
Roots, me and you can do an
Jelly.
episode.
Damn straight.
Jelly. I'm jelly.
Jelly. Anyway, I'll try to make this quick, because I'm probably gonna breeze through the where the fuck to find this part. No, so this is a show that, when Funimation announced that they were getting it, I was super excited about. It just looked like it was gonna be a good time. I was happily surprised with how much I genuinely liked the show, how much I liked it. And the dub is fantastic. It is one that I don't think I see a lot of people talking about, but there's the people who have seen talk about it, absolutely love it. I know you guys don't go on the Funimation Discord a lot, but I do. There's a girl on there named Coco who fucking loves this show. She fucking loves this show, and she has always been recommending it to people, and she was surprised that I had finally watched it. And another one of the guys on there named Jay was also really hyped when he found out that I had finished it too. So there are fans of it, and for those of you who have watched it, it's a fantastic show with a really great dub that have some, maybe depending on how you view it, some casting issues, some technical issues, but it is so strong, and it is genuinely one of the best things I think Clifford Chapin has worked on this year. And I'm really happy that he did it, and I'd actually like to see him tackle more shoujo-y stuff again. Because I know this is technically a shonen, but it had a lot of shoujo elements, so I'd like to actually see him tackle, like, a hardcore shoujo, like Yona again,
which
also had shonen elements.
See, I'm of the opinion, because he's basically dabbled in practically almost every single genre except for one. I want to see him do a horror show.
Okay, no, he's not done an idol show yet, and he has to do one of those.
Oh, Hypnosis Microphone is coming out in October.
Hey, and Aniplex likes him doing their
I mean,
dubs.
this is the second. I mean, he's worked on 2 in the past year with them, so it's possible.
All right, Cliff. I hope you're ready for rap.
Ichiban, Ichigo, Ichiro, Ichie!
Ichie! Datteri's gonna end up doing Ikebukuro Westgate Park, which is coming out, but that's Togakobo. So, and that Gigi looks like your exact brand of fucking shit.
Yay!
I'll explain what that is after this, but no, I really like that. Again, like I said, if you didn't, especially if you did not know who Lee George or Macy Ann Johnson was before this, they should absolutely be on your radar. And I'm pretty sure if Danny and Derek weren't already on the radar, this is just if they're all on your radar, this is just another notch of, hey, this is why those two get a lot of work. So if you'd like to watch, again, overall, really great product. We'll see where it comes out in the end of the year awards, but keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes out. If you'd like to watch Smile Down the Runway, it is exclusively on Funimation in both sub and dub, as well as I think it's on Hulu. Yeah, it's on Hulu as well. So if you'd like to watch, if you don't have a Funimation account but you have a Hulu, you can watch it through Hulu. We are the Dub Talk Podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Dub Talk Podcast, YouTube, Tumblr's dead, Twitch, whatever the hell we like to fucking do. If you'd like to financially support us, but you can only do it one time, we do have a Ko-fi with our Ko-fi link below. But if you'd like to support us on the regular, we do have a Patreon. And tonight we would like to shout out our Patreons who have sat through this entire episode, I hope. Our $5 tier, Crimson Echidna, Michelle Travis, Miracula Corzo, Nico Robin, but with Yowie hands. And Victor, I keep messing up your name, N1! Victor May Bordeaux. I'm sorry, N1. I know Victor by his username more, and I don't call him by his real name ever. Victor Maybordora. I'm sorry. And our $10 tier, Anthony Simpson, B. Morris, Carly Lusticow, Jacob Wilson, J2, aka Dara, Julia W., and Marissa Lenti. Everybody, quickly shill yourselves so I can
I just say one other thing because you completely forgot it? You can also listen to us on Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
What? Apple Podcasts. I keep forgetting that. I'm hungry and have period brain.
Look here, as long as somebody remembers. Hello, my name is Stephanie. I am also known as Lilac on some occasions. You can follow me on Twitter at Lilac Anime Review, with review being spelled R-E-V-U-E, where Lord knows what I post on a daily basis. I don't fucking know. I also have a blog,
It's just pictures of Sherb.
Just pictures of Sherb. You're not wrong. Shut the fuck up.
It's okay. Have you ever seen that SpongeBob meme where he's like pulling out all the diapers from the baby when him and Patrick have the baby scallop? It's that, but it's literally just Sherb.
Not wrong.
I know what I'm doing after this.
No. Anyway, I also have a blog, lifeandtimesotaku.wordpress.com, to which I need to start writing more about my children now that I have my 10th child. Anyways, that's it for me.
Gigi, go!
My name is Gigi. You can find me on Twitter at AnimePalooza or on YouTube at AnimePalooza, where I talk about all your best and worst of shoujo trash and Urano Prince Sama. You please step on me because it makes everybody laugh. And I am way too obsessed with Udapri for my own good. You can also listen to me on my other podcast, the Shoujo Trash Showdown, where I talk all shoujo all the time, which is why I don't watch anything that Derek Snow has been in except for Dance with Devils 1-1.
Woohoo!
1-1. Gigi, I know Gigi says it's the step on me that makes everything laugh, but I know you hate that card, but every time you pull it, I fucking die.
Is it because every time I say 1-1?
No, it's that and just the abject sound of horror in her voice. Like, things that scare people. Clowns. Heights. Otoya with dog ears.
He's terrifying. He is a creep.
Shit. Anyway, Patrick, please go.
All right, so I am Roots of Justice. You can find me on the twitter.com at Roots of Justice. Mainly retweet cute animal pics, talk general fandom stuff, general good time. Come see me, do stuff. Blog is Roots of Justice Anime Time blog show. I have a podcast that I'm trying to finalize details for, Two Position Mouths. Stay tuned for information on all of that, and it will be on my Twitter feed, so remember that stuff.
Hi, I'm Megan. You can follow me at QueenEar2. I shitpost and talk about Fire Emblem a lot, and I like collecting enamel pins of Fire Emblem, and I'm literally building, I literally have a giant Blue Lions Eat a Bag, and I'm probably building a second generic Fire Emblem one. Alright, guys, we've all survived. Challenge over. Go home, eat food, have a good time, and remember, kids, it's not... It's blood orange. That's so pretentious. It's fucking red. I almost forgot to put that
And
in.
you
I was
sneak
waiting
it
for
in.
it.
Fucking
Sneak
red.
it in. It's great.
Remember, kids, it's fucking red. Good night.
Love your faces.
Good night, everybody, and Otaku on friends.
Odagawan that daba.